This broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
Boy, we're going to have some fun.
The AFL in 2026 on ABC Sport.
And the siren sounds. Here we go. Listen to the roar. It is showtime.
You take a seat because it don't get better than this.
Right to the goal line. Jamie Elliott, the man who gravity forgot.
That's why we love AFL football.
On ABC Sport, this is the AFL.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
From 45 and rides it all the way home.
An ambitious effort. Unbelievable.
The left foot is a goal. Oh, yeah.
Take a seat because it don't get better than this.
Throws it, kicks on goal. The prancing pony.
What a goal.
He's off and running from 45 to get the party started.
Take a seat because it don't get better than this.
It's bouncing, it's through. Bailey Smith, he'll want the cameras on him right now.
Night camera action, baby. Countdown to contact.
Spins around and buries it.
Loads up from 55. That's a monster bomb.
40 metres out, snaps towards goal. What a beautiful finish.
Bacon goes square, goes for glory.
He eyes the goals and sends it home.
Get better than this.
100% pure footy. Every minute of every match, all season long.
Gathers, snaps, goal.
It's just football at its best.
Take a seat because it don't get better than this.
Kick on goal, dribbles it through. What about that? Took them all on and said, I'll have some of this.
Bailey pinches his pocket and bang, bang, bang. That's the price you pay against the Premier.
Watson snaps. Oh, Watson puts it through. And the Wizard arrives precisely on time. He's built for the big stage. On his left boot, his kick is good.
AFL.
Inside 50, off a step, turns and goes bang. And snap. And goal. There's some bravery through the middle of the ground. How good is that?
What a goal! He wastes no time. He whacks it through for another. It doesn't have to be your night, but it can be your moment. Hands it to Charlie Cameron. He can walk it in. Show him your tail lights, Charlie.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2026 AFL Premiership season.
Runs the 50 out. What a way to finish.
Because it don't get better than this.
On radio
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
and ABC Listen.
You take a seat because it don't get better than this.
It is a blockbuster day of final shaping clashes. Welcome to the Adelaide Oval, where we kickstart your Saturday trifecta of footy with fifth spot on the line as Adelaide faces Melbourne. The pieces starting to come together for the Crows. They've got Mark Keane, Taylor Walker and Isaac Rankin all back straight after their demolition of the Western Bulldogs, which has all of us wondering if they're about to run it back and maybe return to the winning streak they had last year, 9 games on the way to a minor premiership. Meanwhile, the D's, they're the surprise packet of 2026. They're surging towards finals contention. The question is, under their first season with Stephen King, can they win a game outside Victoria? Can they do it without Brodie Myercheck and Harrison Petty up forward as well? No late changes for this clash. Good crowd and a beautiful day in the festival state as well. And I do want to start on the emotional news of the last 48 hours, which was the life-threatening crash of Tony Modra down in the Fleurieu Peninsula. We'd firstly love to send our love and support to his family and his friends, and everyone at ABC Sports certainly sends our wishes to Tony Modra, absolute legend of the game. Do have some good news to report, though. So ABC has just spoken to SA Health, and his condition has just been increased and improved to stable. So Tony Modra currently in hospital and is in a stable condition, which is great news for an absolute icon of this state and one of the legends of the game as well. 0437 774 774 is the text line this afternoon. Aaron Bryans to call the action for you, and alongside me is Tom Wilson. Afternoon, Tom.
Great to see you, Aaron, and I mirror your thoughts on Mods. What a man. Every time you think about him, he makes you smile, whether it's on and off the field. So Obviously sending our thoughts, as you mentioned there. I can't wait for this game today. The Crows finally back in form, or the form that we know that they can play. And as you mentioned, Melbourne, the surprise packet. I love the way they move the ball forward under Stephen King. Who would have thought losing 2 premiership players could rejuvenate the team? You know, that is Petrarca and Oliver out the door. So it's been a wonder to watch them this year. Do love a milestone game, and how fitting Jake Lever plays it here in Adelaide. Famously left after that 2017 grand final and was told he was leaving for money, not flags, and he's the one who won that premiership. So it's always fascinating. And the man who said that, Taylor Walker's back today.
Incredibly ironic that he comes back to the Adelaide Oval for this milestone, and I know the Crows supporters have a fair bit to say to Jake Lever at times with how he left, so we'll see how they react to him this afternoon. Our experts this afternoon are absolute legends of the game as well. Firstly, we've got the premiership player and former Port Adelaide coach, Lauren Arnell. Good to see you, Loz.
Happy Saturday, guys. What a day for footy. It's one of those where if you're playing or you're watching, it's such great weather for a winter's day, and probably for our listeners that are interstate, the best I can communicate it is as a toddler parent. It was okay that my daughter refused a jumper this morning. The sun was out. I could tolerate it just today.
Just starting to acclimate a bit to the weather here. Alongside Lauren Arnell, we've got the 4-time Showdown medalist, the current North Adelaide coach, Josh Francou's here in the ABC Sport Box. Welcome, Josh.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Similar, Lauren talked about the weather was horrific during the week, wasn't it? But they've turned it on here at Adelaide Oval. The sun's out. Beautiful looking day. And a real litmus test for Melbourne. We've spoken about they have them on away from home, so a real litmus test for them, showing real promising signs in terms of their form and fortunes this year. But come up against Adelaide, an in-form Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, probably no tougher ask in the AFL at the moment.
Going to put them to the test, and we're very privileged that we've got 3 of the top 10 players in the game right now out there in Jordan Dawson, Max Gawn and Keziah Pickett. If you didn't hear it before, Matthew Nix was part of AFL Saturday, so you can jump back in the ABC AFL podcast feed and hear all of the show back with Corbin Middlemass, Mick Malthouse and Luke Ball. But the inkling from Nixie was that should Cozzy go forward, Max Michaelani will be there to meet him, which will be an interesting matchup across the afternoon. But it will put the Crows midfield to the test. It's been, I guess, their weak spot over the last campaign. It's what hurt them in finals last year, and now they've got to find a way to combat Keziah Pickett and Max Gawn.
Well, it's funny, I've just written some notes down in the break that can Adelaide stop Pickett? I've thrown Gawn into the mix as well, but I guess from Melbourne's perspective, can they stop Jordan Dawson? As you've mentioned, Aaron, probably the Achilles and the narrative around Adelaide's Achilles heels has been their midfield and the depth that they have going through there. Sam Berry has taken his game to another level, and Jordan Dawson's just an outright star. So expect a big contest in the middle of the ground.
And I think the exciting part about watching the game today, Josh, is having those mids that can go forward and really impact, and that exciting run and burst from stoppage. We know that Pickett does it throughout the game now as a majority mid, but seeing Rankin and Rochelle together again and that sort of combination, as well as Dawson, it bodes for an exciting match.
Well, interestingly enough as well, you look at someone like a Pickett, you know, there's players in the comp that they're untaggable. He's almost in that category. Just his electrifying speed and his agility makes him almost impossible to defend. So they're going to have their work cut out, the Crows.
Mentioned it earlier on SA Grandstand, but Dale Thomas crunched the numbers during the week and found that Keziah Pickett's actually a better player when he is tagged statistically.
Oh, wow.
So
that's insane.
There's just no way to stop him, which is pretty chaotic as well. And for the Demons, unfortunately, on the road this year, they're 0-4 with a 39-point average. That being said, some pretty decent opponents outside of their loss to Essendon here, so we'll see if they can get the job done or at least be super competitive against another finals contender, because right now, after the Hawks win last night, it's the battle for 5th, but it puts you so close to the top 4.
Yeah, and preparing for the game this week for myself, you look at the ladder and you go, wow, the D's are 5th. Sitting outside, living outside of Victoria and seeing that is, they're sneaking under the radar, but I'm really looking forward to their brand of footy today. I love how attacking they play, and if you're coming in as Melbourne and Stephen King, I think there's probably a few surprise wins that they've had this year and put themselves in absolute finals contention, but it's a great opportunity for them to set themselves up with their first win away from home, and going into the finals, you want to know that you can win at a ground like this away outside of Victoria.
Crazy part about the two squads as well, even though there's a lot of fresh faces in the Melbourne Demons lineup, in terms of their age profile, they're essentially identical, Adelaide and Melbourne, in terms of their lists, and the game's experience is only 4 difference in the average. So both these sides, where they're headed towards, and I guess where their build currently is very similar. It's just that this is a new era for Stephen King, and he's been able to fast-track a very competitive side.
It's crazy when you pitch it like that, isn't it, Az? And you wonder how much difference a Jack Steele and a Max Gawn make to that average number.
Yeah, look.
But bringing an experienced player in like that, Josh, some teams can really benefit from having a guy like Jack Steele, who seemed largely unwanted at the Saints as their skipper.
And I think even further to that, they lose Oliver, they lose Petraka, they lose Stephen May. And to your point, as you said, Tom, that Stephen King has done an outstanding job in getting this playing group to the level that they're playing at, and probably, even to their own admission, has exceeded expectations.
For those who've just joined us as well, it's been a big day in sport because the Socceroos played this morning, which was 5 a.m. Eastern. So for those who did get up, they weren't rewarded for their effort, Tom. Unfortunately, lost 2-0 to the United States. For some odd reason, Tony Popovich decided to bench both of our scorers from the Turkey game. It didn't quite work. They looked a little bit stagnant. So what it means in the grand scheme, and we'll fill you in across the day, is that even though Australia lost that game, they've got the one win, which means if they can finish third at least, they're probably in the best 8 teams and they'll progress. And even then, they could still finish second regardless of the loss today. It all depends on this game this afternoon. So Turkey up against Paraguay, who are the two sides who we get to win in our group. Paraguay has actually scored first. So 1-0 they lead in the early stages. It's just the 10-minute mark. But in the context of what that could do to us, so if Paraguay win this game, Australia physically cannot finish last. So there's a likelihood they'll at least progress by being third, if not second. If it's a draw, then Australia have to at least tie or beat Paraguay in their next game. And if Turkey win, then the Aussies will certainly need to get the job done because they can finish last if they lose, and then they will not progress. So
we're barracking for Paraguay today.
At this stage, this is the right result, I think.
Right,
yeah.
Let's go.
Because it probably gets us closer towards a finish, even though it would be lower. I guess, do you want to take the gamble of trying to finish second but potentially not progressing at all? That's the maths behind it. But look, it's probably good that Paraguay is leading at the moment 1-0, but we'll keep you across it all afternoon. And the text line, if you do want to get in touch, 0437 774 774. Minutes away from bounce down here at the Adelaide Oval. The crowd has built very nicely. It is super windy, though. We'll check in with Josh Money in just a moment. But Loz and Josh, who's winning this afternoon?
Lauren, I think Adelaide are just too strong. I look across the forwards, the mids, the backs, and they've just got they just look better. And I know that's a simple way of putting it, but obviously we've seen over the last couple of weeks Adelaide have just started to hit their straps. They're looking like the side that we know that they're capable of. And what we saw last year with that, I think you said a 9-game winning streak as they finished top of the ladder. We're starting to see glimpses of that. They've still got players to come back in. 3 handy inclusions today in, is it Walker, Keenan, Rankin? So some pretty handy ins. I just can't see Melbourne getting it done today.
I agree with you. I think based on the fact the D's haven't won outside of Victoria yet this year, and given the inexperience under their coach, while the age factor is similar, I think the experience of games played together as a whole group and the fact that it's here at Adelaide Oval, it makes an enormous difference for my tip. And yeah, I think the Crows will get it done by a couple of goals.
Let's see if the D's can pull off an upset this afternoon. The captains have met in the middle, and Jake Lever was the one as part of the coin toss alongside Jordan Dawson in game 200. Josh Money had his eyes on it all downstairs. Welcome to the broadcast, Josh.
Thanks very much, Aaron. What a beautiful afternoon it is for footy. Feels a bit strange almost to have a blockbuster of this magnitude so early in the day, but lovely conditions for footy. As you mentioned, it is quite breezy, a strong northerly breeze indeed. Crowd building nicely, as you said, and it is emergency services round, so the fourth year in a row that the Crows have done that with 3,000 first responders here today, and that's quite fitting after 2 of them came to Tony Modra's aid on Thursday night. And nothing official planned from the club today, but certainly amongst the supporters there's certainly some light plans for an acknowledgement of some sort at the 6-minute mark to acknowledge the Crows icon. So certainly that will be fitting, and he is very much front of their minds down here at ground level. Trent Rivers, Fitzgerald, Sharp, Cross and Kenfield start on the bench for the D's. Fogarty, Keys, Berry, Nankervis and Hall Kahan for the Crows. Can't wait.
And if you've just joined us as well, SA Health getting in touch with ABC News, and Tony Modra's condition has been upgraded to stable, which is excellent to hear for the South Australian icon.
Aaron, just having a look in the centre square, mouth-watering matchup. Looks like Rankin's got the job, or is going to run next to Cozzy Piggott. So hold on to your hats.
There is going to be some absolute electricity in the middle when these two fight for the footy. Here we go. It's Adelaide and Melbourne on ABC Sport to start your trifecta of footy. You are with Tom Wilson live at the Adelaide Oval.
Lockie McAndrew up against the 8-time All-Australian Max Gawn. McAndrew wins out in the end. Handballs towards Rankin. Back into the team. He was tripped, legged. Managed to get his kick inside the forward 50 and finds Taylor Walker, who marks 45 metres out in a 45-degree angle.
Oh, a lot of love in that centre bounce crew. You called it, Josh. Lockie McAndrew's work at that CB to follow up his tap work and get it on the outside to Rankin, who'd seen Pickett through. Exceptional work from the Crows.
I think the other thing further to that kick from Rankin inside 50 was extraordinary. Had numbers, didn't have a lot to kick to, but just the composure and poise to find Walker. Great start, Adelaide.
Well, this would bring the house down in the opening minute. The returning Rankin to Walker goes with the drop punt on the paint of 50. And he's already turning to the crowd. Big Tex is pumped up. And the Crows have a goal in the first 50 seconds. They're 1 straight 6. The T's yet to score.
Well, I just said, Lauren, it was the perfect start from Adelaide, wasn't it? McAndrew was terrific in the ruck, but I've said it here many, many times before. Taylor Walker's set shot is as good as there is in the competition. Almost I've ever seen. He kicks, it does not deviate. And a terrific finish there from the big forward in Tex Walker.
Against the breeze too, I think the flags are going at the other end of the ground in the D's favour. So, as you said, perfect start for Adelaide.
Dream return for Taylor Walker, who was suspended for the push against Colin O'Sullivan a few weeks back. Now plays his 310th game this afternoon, so he's 1 away from tying Ben Hart in 4th. All-time leading goal kicker Tex, so he'll certainly be a legend of this football club. Tossed up, gone down, beautiful tap down the throat of Sparrow, weaves through the centre circle. Melbourne heading inside 50, fly from Van Rooyen, who crunches into the pack. Ball shoots back out of the 50, unable to be gathered by Howes. Coming through Dawson, shoots the handball wide for the Crows. Cook through traffic to Miller. They're doing this very well through a lot of pressure. Peatling gets it off to Rochelle. Little hot one to Dawson, who fumbled, and Sparrow pounces, throws his head over the footy, clatters into a tackle of Rankin, who didn't really commit. He just watched Sparrow fall to the deck, asked the question, but we will get a ball up. Centre half forward for Adelaide. They lead by 6. McAndrew down, only found Bowie, dropped it in the tackle. Gawn gets it out. Sparrow shoots it to Pickett. He fumbled. Rochelle's there, spun around, dropped it. Calls of holding the ball. Rochelle saying, I didn't have it. Play continues. Handball comes out. Tolstrup gets it back. And a long clearing kick comes out, a defensive 50 by McDonald.
Up towards centre wing, and ball aces there to fist it out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in.
Tom, Melbourne's hands in the scramble there were outstanding. A lot of pressure applied by the Adelaide mids, but just their ability to break free from that scramble scenario and kick it forward, that was really well done by the Demons.
So Crows lead it by a straight goal. Boundary throw-in on the logo. Gone straight down to Fritsch, who was tackled without it. Play on, says the umpire. Gathered by Dawson. Flicks it to Rankin, who goes to Miller under pressure, but he goes to don't argue too high. Got Chandler high. One of the smaller men on the ground. He quickly handballs away to Sparrow. Goes inside the forward 50. A real kick in hope. Ball ace works his way back. Couldn't complete the mark, but the Crows have the numbers. Nick Murray goes to Rory Laird in the left back pocket. Out towards the wing, outer side of the ground. Big fly, rowed by Neil Bullen. The former D takes on his old teammates. Gets a handball away just in time. Into the space of the centre circle. And Rankin! He spun through, got the handball out, couldn't complete it to Peatling. Turnover D's.
Howes lobs the handball out to the eastern wing. Turner in some space. Disco into the 50 for the D's. They've got the outnumber. The flyer is Tolstrup, and Melksham couldn't take it either. Van Rooyen, though, gathers, hands it back to Windsor, gives it across to Langford, and he squeezes a snap from 20 through. Melbourne get the response, and it is fast, frenetic, top shelf footy early. 1 straight 6 apiece. 4 played at the Adelaide Oval.
Well, just having a look at some of the numbers, Lauren, I know it's only a small sample size, but both sides at the moment are just overusing it by hand. And we look at Adelaide, just the 3 kicks and 10 handballs. Melbourne have had 5 kicks and 9 handballs. So both sides happy to flick the ball around. But as we saw on that occasion from Adelaide's perspective, the pressure's too good, caused the turnover. Shot on goal.
And it looks like in that back half turnover when the Crows win it, they're charging through with that over handball through the corridor. And Melbourne have defended that well in the last couple of plays and getting it back out to the outside and playing quickly inside 50, which we know they do, benefited Harvey Langford on that occasion.
Just having a look in the centre square, Rankin's now come to the bench for a rest, and it looks like Peatling has gone to Cozzy Pickett.
McAndrew wins out the hit out, tries to knock it to himself, socket off the deck by Steele, but Berry gets the handball to Dawson, to centre half back in Miller, back towards Berry in the middle of the ground. using hands well here, the Crows. Out to Michaelani, steps inside his opponent on the logo and goes long inside the forward 50. Tex is there waiting. He's roving. Handball to Peatling. Probably the wrong option, who handballs towards the boundary line, and Neil Bullen, and Langford's pretty happy to see that out. At left half forward for Adelaide, scores a square at 6 apiece, 5 minutes in.
Just another example, Tom, of Adelaide just overusing the ball by hand. I reckon Peatling there, just get it on the boot. At the moment, they're running at 4 kicks and 16 handballs, the Crows.
Voice of Josh Francou alongside Lauren Arnell this afternoon. Tossed in, Max Gorn with the fist, trying to exit Adelaide's 50. Only found Curtin, who's quickly wrapped up. Get a ball up just in front of the Rashudo stand. Quickly reset. McAndrew down. Gets it to Dawson. Low snap across the body. Dees was sitting back with the spare. Or could bounce for them, but Turner bursts out of the defensive goal square. Bangs it out of dodge. Only finds Rory Laird. Adelaide's going to go right back in through their dual Australian. Laird into the 50-30 out. Caught behind was Taylor. Hits the deck. Dees there as well. Sparrow with a hot handball. Didn't quite work. Couple of tackles laid on Langford, and we'll get a ball up. 35 out. Adelaide's 50.
Gorn wins the hit out towards Sparrow, immediately tackled by Berry.
Thinking about Rory Laird, he's like Benjamin Button, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's getting better and better the older he gets.
Had that wonderful career through the midfield and at half-back as well. Berry off to Neil Bullen from the clearance, all the way back to Curtin to Michaelani. Kicks it back inside the forward 50, left half forward, Rochelle Marks. Josh on the boundary.
Yeah, Tom, just that round of applause going around the ground now, honouring Tony Modra.
Well, just looking at Rochelle's body language, he's going to kick from about 55 metres. He's within range here, I think. As you said, the wind's against him, but he's got the protection of the riverbank stand, but it's going to take a good kick.
The applause of Tony Modra. In comes another rock star of the Adelaide Crows. Rochelle unloads from 50. Just away to the left. He had the journey, Josh. Minor score, 117 Melbourne. One straight 6-7 minutes gone.
Has been special to see the state wrap its arms around the Modra family and friends over the last 48 hours, and thankfully in a stable condition this morning. Jake Bowie out of the defensive goal square, heads to the eastern side. What a mark in front, flying across from Turner. 2 to beat, pops up immediately. Short chip over the top to Fritsch. Melbourne are moving this with pace. Down the line he goes to right half forward. Windsor turns into a paddock. Tight on the boundary line. He'll thread it inboard. Looking for Van Rooyen. Couple of fists. Head over the footy. Melksham though hands it back to Langdon. No look dish towards Chandler. Spun in the tackle overhead. Tries to get it 20 out. Van Rooyen with a clean take. Back to Chandler. Mowed down by Keane. Ball shoots out. We're in front of the scoreboard. And it will finally be held in. 20 from home. Melbourne's 50. Adelaide by a point early stages. Quickly tossed up, and neither ruck could get there in time. Ends up hitting the shins of McAndrew. A couple of players put their heads over it, but Dan Curtin in Modra's number 6 gathers, gets the handball out, gets it wide to Taylor, then backtracking his Laird. Fast feet as he dances and dodges, gets it back towards Taylor. He's running out of room, and eventually they find the boundary line. And it will be a last disposal free kick because he tried to go for the handball, but boundary umpire's not overly convinced, and eventually will pay it. So Melbourne ball, right half forward, Ed Langdon to receive it.
Aaron, at the moment, Adelaide have only kicked the ball 9 times with 23 handballs. And again, just guilty of just overusing the ball by hand, and Melbourne's pressure's been really, really solid.
They say an umpire never changes his mind. Well, they've changed it twice there. It's going to be a boundary throw-in. So right half forward for the D's. Up towards Gorn and McAndrew. Gorn over the top towards Fritsch, who fumbled. Fell on the lap of Michaelani, goes to Millerer. Flat ball inside the middle of the ground to Rochelle. Perfectly placed. He goes short to Walker. He plays on quickly over the top towards Taylor at centre half forward. He's got a runner, Dawson on his wrong side. So he chips inside the forward 50 on his right boot and kicked it straight to Langford.
Had so many options, but just couldn't weight it properly. Went right in the middle of 3. Langford now to left half back. The cheers for the 200 gamer, Jake Lever, former Adelaide Crow, 66 games with them as an early pick. Number 14 in 2014, Jake Lever, but left after a couple of campaigns. Switched through McDonald out wide to Tolstrup, who links up now with Jake Bowie. running in front of the Williams stand. Colton Tolstra up to a pack at right half forward. Few flyers, and Keane comes up with it. Didn't realise it could have been a mark. Quickly hands it back to Michaelani. Hot pass though to Neil Bullen. Didn't quite hit him as charging the other way was Turner. Bullet pass into the 50, but Ball Ace gets back. Intercept mark. It's the Crows by a point. 9 minutes in on ABC Sport.
Great story of perseverance for Ball Ace. Rocked his spot in this 23. Went short to Curtin. Now Peatling. Down the line. Finds Neil Bullen. Marks on the wing. Asked to play on by the umpire. Up towards left half forward. His kick was short. D's have the numbers, but Rochelle did well. Got his hand in there. Taylor was clean. Running into the forward 50 is Jordan Dawson. 2 bounces. Chip shot. Goal! The skipper adds another. For the Crows, they extend their margin to 7 points. They're 2-1-13. Melbourne, 1 straight 6, 10 minutes gone first term.
Well, Dawson knows how to find the scoreboard, doesn't he? And just a clever run to get to the foot of that contest in Adelaide's front half. And I love the work of Taylor Walker, just splitting his defender, running wide and forcing Lever to open up the lane for Dawson to finish that goal. And while the D's have been exciting pushing forward, I think the Crows dropping players like Laird back behind the ball and having him as a spare and then playing fast off that is working for them at the moment.
The aura of Jordan Dawson with Daddy Cool as his goal song, and a couple of look-backs as he just trotted into the open goal. He understood the situation, the skipper, and he's in a hot run of form right now. Leading from the front, Adelaide by 7 on ABC Sport. Gawn wins it down against McAndrew. Another straight tap as he gets it off to Fitzgerald. Second gamer into the 50. Ball Ace, too strong for Melcham, who just calls for some assistance. Just engulfs him with his widespread shoulders and his height. Short pass wide. Uses Murray. Heads out to the broadcast wing. Kick was a little long for Nankervis, and off hands it goes over the boundary line.
While we're talking about the promising form of James Ball Ace, we should talk about his sister Izzy, in form for Atlanta Dream in the WNBA at the moment and doing exceptionally well in her first season.
What a family. So much sporting talent. Boundary throw in. McAndrew wins it over Gawn. Sparrow goes the punch towards the centre square, and Miller tries to shrug off the tackle. Got the handball away to Michaelani, who went over the top towards Nankervis, and Curtin with a double don't argue. Steps inside and his kick was off his ankle. Straight to Langford, who goes inside the forward 50, finds Van Rooyen left half forward.
Off his ankle. That was a real flower bag of a kick, wasn't it? He did everything right, showed strength, but just turned the footy over. And again, in the modern game, you turn the ball over, particularly in your defensive half, you're going to pay the price. Interesting as well, just looking at Pickett, looks like Saligo and Peatling have got the job on him. Peatling on the bench at the moment. Saligo's got the job on Pickett, yet to touch the footy. Aussie Pickett.
So Van Rooyen, more than a cult figure. The D's fans love him. Unloads from 45. That's straight through the middle. Melbourne respond through their talisman. They go 2 straight 12. Adelaide 2-1-13. 13 gone in the first term for ABC Sport.
While it's been high handball footy, it's been a good start to the first quarter for both teams, and I'm enjoying watching Max Gawn push forward and stretch Lockie McAndrew. It's going to be interesting, Josh, to see how that plays out, because I think McAndrew early, particularly at centre ball up, has been exceptional. But the more Max Gawn runs him around and forces him to run full length of the ground and defend deep, I think you'd expect Gawn to take his opportunities if the D's can see him deeper in the forward line, drifting in general play.
Yeah, and I think that's the concern with the young ruckman in McAndrew. Has he got the capacity to go with him? And Gawn's an absolute star of the competition at the moment. He's not in there. We've got Phil Thorpe's coming to the ruck for Adelaide, but huge job for big McAndrew to nullify the influence of Max Gawn.
Thilthorpe up against the third gamer, Luca Kentfield. See how these makeshift rucks go, and Riley Thilthorpe easily outmatches him, taps it to himself, hands it to Rankin, who bursts through Bowie's defender off the handball, a little shallow, so he'll follow it up himself. He's a one-man show, just couldn't finish with the chip kick into the 50. Fogarty dives towards the footy and he's tackled forward in the process. Crowd asked the question, but is rolled well through. Ball up 25 out.
He's looking sharp, Rankin, isn't he? He's only kicking at 33% at the moment, but gee whiz, he looks electric and dynamic around the fall of the ball at stoppages.
Now Turner and Kentfield confused as to who's going to nominate, so Thilthorpe takes the ruck, taps it straight to Berry, tackled right as the ball came to him but didn't quite have possession. Cozzy Pickett gives it away, and a free kick to Berry, really tight in the pocket. This is a straight line angle, about 10 out.
Can I say I don't like those free kicks paid? I reckon when the ball gets knocked out in the tackle and you can't maintain possession of it, paying a free kick against Cozzy Pickett there, I reckon, not sure about it.
Sam Berry opens the angle, hooks it across the body and misses to the right. Adelaide moves their lead to 2 points, 2-2-14. Melbourne 2 straight 12, 15 minutes in on ABC Sport. There's an argument to reward, I guess, the footy smarts to leave the footy.
Sometimes you don't know,
tackle,
though,
but
as a tackler.
It's a little cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd say penalise the ball carrier for releasing it, but...
Oh, Langdon tries to play on and get past Nankervis, put himself under enormous pressure. But doing well there was Trent Rivers. Takes a contested mark at right half back. Plays on now, kicks up towards centre wing. And working his way to the front was Mark Keane. Crowd certainly love that. Goes short with a 45 kick. Inboard to Hall Kahan, asked to play on. The switch is on towards Fogarty. Marks inside the centre square. Handballing to Curtin. He's on his wrong side, but manages to get it on the left boot. Saligo's waiting at the back of the pack. Couldn't complete the mark. Knocks the ball in dispute. There's going to be a high tackle there. Just couldn't quite get all the way out to Jake Saligo. And Tom McDonald's going to win a free kick at the top of the goal square. Just in back play. So they move it on quickly to right half back and drop mark out the side there by Housen. Will have a throw in left half forward for the Crows.
Just going back to Hall Kahan's kick across ground to Fogarty, like a guy who's been picked up in a mid-season draft to be able to kick the ball like that, unbelievable.
It's been one of the most talented crops we've seen already in the opening fortnight. Joel Fitzgerald had 26 touches last week in his first game. Both he and Hall Kahan out of Williamstown, so former teammates playing against each other. Toss back in, left half forward. Pat collapses very quickly. We'll get a ball up just outside Adelaide's 50 as Kentfield wraps up Berry. We'll go again. Thilthorpe in the ruck against the third gamer. Taps it straight to Peatling. Had an arm pin, but got boot to ball. Walker smartly tries to tap it on. He's looking for Neil Bullen. Just couldn't quite control it. And has scored it over the boundary line. 35 out. Left forward pocket for the Crows. On the text line, Grant Hobart's got in touch, enjoying the call while typing madly and putting together my next book. Love it, Grant. Let us know what type of book it is. We're thinking like action adventure. What's going on? And says go Blues for tonight. I think you're not wrong. They play at 4:10 Eastern. Our coverage starts at least for the Giants and the Blues, but that'll progress towards the night. Tossed in, the Blues win the stoppage. Chandler exits with the handball, gets it out towards Kentfield, fumbled. Chandler with the fresh airy, rolls its way towards the centre square. Taylor's waiting, gets it for the Crows to Peatling, nice and composed with the centering kick. Neil Bullen, strong through the pressure, takes the mark up against Rivers. Hands it to the run of Nick Murray. He'll set it up, 20 from home. High entry, couple of flyers, and in the end, smart from the D's as Lever pulls out. Gets Kentfield to come across and cut it off. Top of the defensive goal square. It's the Crows by 2.
Plays on quickly, his short kick. His teammate under enormous pressure. Kentfield gets it back. A snap around the body and steals in front and marks. Goes the 1-2 with Lever. Switching it out wide. Looking for a teammate in Langford who dropped the mark. Nankervis tried to get around him. Got the handball away to Taylor Walker. Back to Hall Kahan on the logo, outer side of the ground. Another flat ball through the middle of the ground to Laird. Centre half forward now with Keys. 65 from goal on the left boot and finds a target inside the forward 50. It's Peatling, 40 metres out directly in front.
Well, just having a look at Cozzy Pickett at the moment, he's still yet to touch the ball. He's had 2 tackles, but still yet to register a disposal. And the bloke that's got the footy at the moment, Peatling's done a terrific job on him, having a shot on goal himself and influencing the game offensively. But Melbourne, they've got to find a way to inject Cozzy into this game because at the moment it's not working for them.
Played every game this year, James Peatling.
He's been a good pickup, hasn't he?
Very reliable through that midfield. Peatling from 40 metres out, goes the drop punt. This one drifts away to the right-hand side. Another minus score for the Crows. They're 2-3-15 Melbourne. A 2 straight 12. 19 gone here at Adelaide Oval for ABC Sport.
7th disposal for Peatling. So he's doing a terrific job at the moment on Pickett.
Now the defensive goal square. The kick is not a good one from Turner. Head to left half back. It's cut off by Rankin. Spears it straight back in. And it's snuck through the gap. Darting across. Tolstrup tried to cut it off. And it threaded through to Rochelle.
Keep shaking my head at this bloke. That kick, where it had the best vantage point, right behind the kick. He had nothing to work with in terms of margin for error, and that kick from Rankin.
6th touch for the quarter too in his return.
Yeah.
Absolutely threading the needle was Rankin to Rochelle. These two pocket rocket forwards. Josh Rochelle from 45 with a straight line drive on the tight angle and the double python to the front row as he celebrates his goal. Adelaide up by 9 here at the Adelaide Oval. 3-3-21 to the D's, 2 straight 12. Time on in the opening term on ABC Sport. Josh Money's downstairs.
Yeah, and Aaron, Josh Rochelle, a former Melbourne City junior, was one of the Crows, or many Crows, getting up this morning to watch the Socceroos. We asked Matthew Nix about it during the week, and he actually said that they took a real high-performance approach to it. So they said, if you want to get up, that's fine, but they basically had to go to bed earlier and treat this like a night game. So a lot of thought went into this morning's game.
Be a nicely timed nap after the match, wouldn't it? Roll in.
He's just hit that beautifully, hasn't he? And that pass from Rankin, you know those things you see on social media, good, hard, impossible? He got it through an impossible gap to hit Rochelle on the chest.
Absolutely did. Just looking at some of the other numbers at the moment, the clearance count 11-4 Adelaide's way. So ruck dominance, but not converting that into clearances.
Max Gawn's handball was blocked by Dawson, who put some pressure on through the midfield, but Sparrow does get the clearance up towards centre-half forward for the D's. They need a response. Hawker Hahn grabs the footy and is tackled by Windsor. So they're trailing by 9 points. Gawn knocks it forward. Cook gathers. Handballs to Laird. He's got a couple of D's to beat. Gets it back to Max Michaelani, who's really kicked this up towards the paint of the boundary. Out on the full in the end. So Jake Lever will have the free kick.
Gawn drifting forward now on Riley Thilthorpe. Expect this ball to go long.
So Lever does play on, and there goes the long kick as described by Lauren Arnell, and Murray gets a fist in there. Out over the boundary line, we'll have a throw in about 35 metres from the D's goal in the left forward pocket. They're trailing by 9 points, 22 gone in the first term.
Cozzy Pickett still yet to touch the footy. Jake Saligo in the negating role the same, but you'd imagine it's more damaging for the D's than the Crows. Tossed in, Melbourne's 50 down 9. Thilthorpe gets a fist in, knocked it towards Steele though as he thumps it towards the goal square. Tackle late on Fitzgerald, trying to get boot to ball. Managed to pop it just out a couple of metres. Hawker Hahn tackled, and Dawson getting stuck right into Fitzgerald off the ball. Free kick going to Hawker Hahn, who was clattered into by Melksham. Pops up short pass. Rory Laird, right back pocket. We'll share it just down the line, the required 15. Isaac Rankin talked about how exciting that matchup was at the first centre square bounce. Rankin's had it 7 times and Pickett yet to touch the ball. And this kick towards the benches is cut off with a sharp fist. Boundary throw-in to come.
Well, it seems like, Aaron, when Pickett's on the ground and Peatling's on the ground, and Peatling's got the job. If Peatling's off, then it's Saligo, and as we said, Peatling's been outstanding. He's had 7 touches himself, and as you said, is Pickett yet to touch the footy.
Boundary throw in. Sparrow was strong, broke through the tackle, kicks up forward, gets out the back. It's a foot race on. The D's will gobble this one up. Matthew Jefferson runs into an open goal against the run of play. They get one back there. 3 straight 18, the D's. Trailing by 3 points. Adelaide 3-3-21. 23 gone first term.
Really good call, Tom. I thought the strength of Sparrow to get through there in a relatively congested stoppage in the D's front half, but such a good read from Jefferson getting out the back, and he looks to be pretty speedy as well. You could see it drifting over, and again, we know that's the D style of play. I think they're the number 1 long kicking team in the competition, and getting over the back there, we saw the first goal for the D's, Langford benefiting from a long kick, and now Jefferson on the end of it from a stoppage win.
Score check in the World Cup as well, so the Socceroos losing 2-0 this morning, and Paraguay leads Turkey up in the 38th minute mark, 1-0. So if they can complete this victory, it means the Aussies cannot finish last, likely to progress whether it's through second or third. Tossed up, McAndrew down, bounced off a couple of hands. Rankin tackled by Steele and just got a handball out as the umpire called for a ball up. So we'll come back to the centre square. Grows by 3. McAndrew taps, tries to track, can't get there in time. Dawson picks it up, hands it to Miller up, backtracking to Laird. He's set upon by 3 and handed it straight to Van Rooyen. Spots the open goal square and pounds through his second. That is a costly turnover from Wayne Miller. A goal assist for the wrong team. And Melbourne hit the front.
Josh, you've been talking a lot about the over handball from the Crows, but the stoppages are really congested, aren't they?
They are.
Melbourne are playing at least 3 forwards high inside between the arc stoppage, and that means if you receive the ball from a handball from Miller or Rory Laird, you're going to have a lot of pressure coming at you, which caused the turnover.
And even looking at the numbers, Lauren, they're running at 41 kicks, 42 handballs. So that's basically 1-to-1, which is a really high ratio in terms of handball to kick. And they're paying the price as they did on that occasion. Almost Miller, just get the ball going forward. Don't invite pressure and relay the pressure onto one of your teammates, which he did on that occasion.
The D's 4 straight 24. Crows 3-3-21. They're in front, the visitors. Cozzy Pickett with his first touch, handballed it defensively. Bowie lays a tackle and gets the footy. Sparrows having a quarter. Hits another target through the middle of the ground, finds Windsor. Onto the right boot, up towards left half forward. Hits the chest but couldn't complete the mark. That was Melksham. They've still got the footy through Sharp. A kick across goal. Van Rooyen had 2 hands on it, couldn't complete the mark. Pickett goes to ground, shrugs the tackle. Back to Van Rooyen, to Windsor, to Bowie. Left half forward, Van Rooyen marks. Paint of 50, 45-degree angle.
It was looking dangerous. 2 goals already to Jacob Van Rooyen. He's just finding space when the ball hits the ground, and you expect him to finish this one with the wind at his tail in a similar spot to his first goal.
Great call, Loz. So we know he's got the journey. He's had a sighter already.
Terrific composure from Bowie as well, wasn't it? Sort of handball, just had the composure to take a bit of the sting out of the play, just spot up a teammate for a mark inside 50.
Jacob Van Rooyen from 50. Wow! He's pumped it through, and he's pumped. Back-to-back goals for the D's. Back-to-back goals for Van Rooyen. He's got 3 in the opening term. They're 5 straight 30. Adelaide 3-3-21. 27 gone.
Well, it's interesting, again, looking at some of the numbers, and from Adelaide's perspective, they're overusing the ball, and they threatened to break the game open, but the last 4 or 5 minutes from Melbourne's been outstanding. They've hit the scoreboard, and again on that occasion was it Van Rooyen that just went back and nailed the kick from about 55 metres, gun barrel straight. And that's what you've got to do when you play away, particularly in Adelaide. Try to nullify the crowd's influence and get the game on your terms. So we've got a contest on our hands at the moment.
A couple of big games this year as well. So a career high 6 at the start of the campaign against St Kilda. Had 5 against the Eagles a few weeks ago. Now he has 3 in the opening term, Jacob Van Rooyen. And that was the question in the pre-game. How do they handle the loss of Myercheck and Petty? He might be the man. Gawn takes it out of the middle, quickly throws it on the boot. It curls to the eastern side and fortuitously lands towards Braden Cook. Adelaide Crows have it on the defensive edge. Look central. Rory Laird now takes the mark. Fresh off a season-high 35. Short pass to Hall Kahan. Looks cemented in this 23 at the moment. Some big selection dilemmas to come with Josh Worrell Crook this week. Got a flurry of bodies available. Jordan Butts is still away as well. The calf injury. Sends it to Keane. Then out wide to Miller. Down the line. This is a dicey one. Dawson clattered into. Gets the free kick. Sparrow just a little bit too overzealous. Adelaide in front of the Bashir stand, trailing by 9. Dawson, pinpoint. Bullet pass to Cook. Turns on a dime on the logo. Long searching kick to the 50. Packed there. Fist in against Fogarty. Front and square as Shelley tries the check side. Needs the bounce. Doesn't quite get the spin. And a minor score on the left. It is Melbourne by 8. Closing in on quarter time.
So the D's to bring it in through Bowie. Short to McDonald. The veteran kicks long towards the wing. Van Rooyen, he's having a quarter. No, it's Turner, in fact. Sorry. There's a few shaved head blokes from the D's, so from 100 metres away. So Turner kicks long, right half forward, and ball ace. Gets his jukes up there, takes the intercept mark at left half back.
That's 7 for the quarter for Adelaide intercept marks.
Their mojo back in defence as well this season. Long down the line towards Fogarty. Marks just forward of centre wing. Rolls around on that right boot. Long inside the forward 50. Thilthorpe was flying. But coming across the front of the pack was Tolstrup with the spoil. will have a boundary throw in left forward pocket for the Crows. They trail by 8 points, 2 minutes to go in the first term.
I like that change up from the Crows, a little bit longer, more direct and a bit faster inside 50, and now at forward 50 stoppage it means they can play Laird as a spare behind the ball, just in line where he's benefiting enormously in this first quarter.
Lauren Arnell there on ABC Sport. Tossed in, gone straight to Pickett. Shoots the handball out to Sparrow. Little 1-2 with Rivers. The D's have got out of there cleanly. He kicks out to the vacant broadcast wing, and Sharp is on the chase. Bounce sits up for him. Clean gather, and he can arch the back. 2 bounces up to left half forward. Sharp honours the lead out wide. It's a little shallow for Melksham, and he can't trap it. 20 from home. They were on with end-to-end footy there, the D's.
One that got away, wasn't it? I just watched Melksham. He put, I think it was ball ace to the sword in terms of speed to get goal side, and just the kick just had to be a little bit better to find that connect inside 50. That's one that got away for the Demons.
Moves well for a 34-year-old Jake Melksham. Yeah. Tossed in. Front position. McAndrew with the fist, trying to find Peatling. Awkward bounce for him. Curtin comes with the assist. Gets it out to Hawker Hahn. Tumbling exit, a worm burner. Trapped well by Taylor, who gets it back to Keys. Didn't quite look ahead and banged it forward. Melbourne have the numbers, but they wait a while. McDonald and Gawn. Thilthorpe's closing, and Rochelle's a bit hungry as well. They do well to get through it all. McDonald sends it through defensive 50 to Langdon. He'll head to the eastern side for Melbourne. Uses Fritsch at right half back. It's the D's by 8, close to quarter time.
McDonald was outstanding there, wasn't he? Under all sorts of pressure. Just thought his way through that problem that he had with the 2v1.
Fritsch down the line. Ball ace gets the fist in there over the top of Turner, so we'll have a boundary throw in forward of centre wing for the D's. So efficient going forward.
Interesting contest this.
It really is.
Yeah.
Crows really dominated and probably didn't capitalise.
Yep.
And the D's have hurt them with their opportunities. Gawn knocks it down. Knocks it defensively towards Langdon, who's wrapped up in a tackle. Rare fumble from Rochelle. Snapped up by Windsor. Fritsch inboard to Rivers. In the middle of the ground. Bowie's got the footy. Handballs it to Windsor, who's got some run. Takes the bounce. Runs inside the forward 50. Off the side of the boot. It might work to the top of the goal square. Well done in defence, though, from the Crows. Nankervis. And the kick out of defence favours the D's. They had a 2-on-1 contest, and Gawn takes the intercept mark.
Just behind right half forward. Gawn quickly spots something he likes. It was Bailey Fritsch. Getting back in time was Dawson. Couldn't quite control it, though. Fritsch hands it to Pickett. Very tight angle. Missed everything. Out on the full free kick, Adelaide.
Well, you'd be feeling a little bit frustrated if you Pickett. He drifted forward from the previous stoppage and was wide open. Windsor took the bounce and had the shot himself. We feel for him. He's getting into good spots, Pickett, but just not being used.
A few little jumper punches rather as well, and he's had the 4 touches in the term. Getting a little bit restless, Cozzy Pickett. Exiting kick to Fogarty for the Crows. Tries to loop it over the top. Thilthorpe on the half volley. Very good. Gathered. It's over the top. Rochelle just lost it in the sun. And the siren will beat Adelaide in transition anyway. What a start to this clash between 2 top 4 hopefuls. It's been high-quality footy. Both of them pressing their case in this arm wrestle, but the D's very accurate to start. 5 straight 30 lead the Crows 3-4-22. On the text line, 0437 774 774. Paul in Shepparton's loving the call while cleaning up my dad's block. Packing hundreds of old bricks into pallets seemed like fun when we started, but the sense of satisfaction has worn off. Best of luck to you, Paul. Grant's book is about transport. He's a transport enthusiast and looking to do one on buses in Australia and New Zealand. So there you go. Best of luck to you, Grant. And Dean says, tongue-in-cheek, good to hear that Melbourne have played 14 games and only 4 of them have been away. And the Vicks don't believe in bias in the fixture. So there you go. Melbourne looking for their first road win in the campaign. They've got 3 goals to Jacob Van Rooyen to start, which has been a prolific opener for him. Harvey Langford on the board as well. Meanwhile, for the Crows, their 3 goal scorers, Rochelle, Dawson and Walker. It is Melbourne by 8 at quarter time on ABC Local Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Meet the builder of dreams.
It's a great honour to be leading Tasmania's new football club.
Sam Pang's brand new office comedy, Ground Up.
Time to make a little history.
Ground Up. Stream all the episodes now on ABC iView. This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Turner in some space. Disco into the 50 for the D's. They've got the outnumber. The flyer is Tolstrup, and Melksham couldn't take it either. Van Rooyen, though, gathers, hands it back to Windsor, gives it across to Langford, and he squeezes a snap from 20 through.
D's have the numbers, but Rochelle did well. Got his hand in there. Taylor was clean. Running into the forward 50 is Jordan Dawson. 2 bounces. Chip shot. Goal! The skipper adds another. Boundary throw in. Sparrow was strong. Broke through the tackle. Kicks up forward. Gets out the back. It's a foot race on. The D's will gobble this one up. Matthew Jefferson runs into an open goal. Van Rooyen had 2 hands on it, couldn't complete the mark. Pickett goes to ground, shrugs the tackle. Back to Van Rooyen, to Windsor, to Bowie. Left half forward, Van Rooyen marks. Paint of 50, 45-degree angle. Jacob Van Rooyen from 50. Wow! He's pumped it through, and he's pumped.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Melbourne by 8 at the first change, and Jacob Van Rooyen with 3 goals in the first term. It's been a cracking contest as Adelaide hosts Melbourne to continue round 15 on ABC Sport. 3 big games today, all of them between sides who are only a couple of ladder positions apart, all of them fighting for final spots, including wildcard positions. The Giants and the Blues to come at the Sydney Showgrounds. That's from 4:10 Eastern. And Collingwood and Port Adelaide tonight at the MCG from 6:45. The Aussie women are in action as well as part of our coverage of the Women's T20 World Cup. They've got the Netherlands. You can hear that from 7:15 on our dedicated World Cup button. The Socceroos had a 2-0 loss to the USA this morning. Doesn't totally damage their chances of progressing to the round of 32. But it would be helpful if Paraguay could win this current game against Turkey, because it means we wouldn't finish last. And likely we could progress as one of the better third-place sides and could finish as high as second. Paraguay are leading 1-0 at the 51-minute mark, but they've just suffered a red card. Miguel Almiron with a dangerous challenge has been sent off, so they're now down a man but leading by a goal. We'll see if they can hang on for the Socceroos. Lauren Arnell, Josh Franco here alongside Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson. Loz, Josh, what an opening quarter.
Yeah, it was good footy to watch, wasn't it, Josh? And I spent maybe too long trying to figure out what was happening at stoppage, because there was a lot of numbers around. I was trying to work through who Melbourne's spare was and where Harry Sharp was getting caught with lead peeling off spare. But I think you mentioned it early in that quarter, Josh, the over handball game from Adelaide. You'd expect that to message at quarter time from Matthew Nix and his coaching team is the more direct we play, the more dangerous we look. And that's in translation for Melbourne. That's why they've kicked 5 goals straight. They've been very direct with the footy. Their pressure's been good enough, and a player like Van Rooyen with 3 goals to quarter times benefited from that.
Absolutely. We called it throughout the course of that first quarter that Adelaide were overusing. At one stage they were going 1-1. At the moment at quarter time it's 57 kicks to 47 handballs, so they've started to get that looking a little bit better in terms of their ball use. But Melbourne, I thought the last 10 minutes really came into their own. They were really efficient in front of goal. One area I think from their game, from a Melbourne's perspective, is they're getting looks inside 50, and I reckon they'd be frustrated at some of the entries, particularly late in that quarter. We saw a couple of opportunities, went begging for the Demons, but if they can tidy that up, they're absolutely in this contest. And just on the Pickett matchup, Peatling's going to Pickett in general play. Pickett just the 4 disposals, 0% kicking efficiency, so hasn't had the influence that we know Pickett can have on the contest, which is a positive in itself for Melbourne and their supporters. And Peatling's had the 7 disposals, so we'll continue to watch that matchup throughout the course of the game. But we've definitely got a contest on our hands.
I think what I like about the D's as well, beside being 5 goals straight, I think I like that they've done their homework on the Crows. They're setting up the ground defensively really well, guys. They're zoning off heavily the middle of the ground, and that short kicking game from the Crows, while they were over handballing, they also, I think, overkicked the short kick a little bit too much. And once they started kicking longer to those talls, Thilthorpe, Walker, Rochelle's dangerous, 1 goal too. Kick longer, be more dangerous, and the ground opens up for them.
Doing it with Cozzy Pickett on 4 touches as well, so they can arguably get better, the Ds. News of the day as well, so confirmed fractured jaw for Daniel Rioli last night, so that means Josh Weddle could face upwards of 3 weeks in terms of a suspension. There's a big bump there during the Hawks win over the Suns. And for those who've just joined us as well, SA Health getting in touch with ABC News, and Tony Modra's status has been upgraded to a very handy stable, and around that as well, Mark Rasciuto speaking on Fox saying they're very optimistic about his recovery, which is great news for one of the game's greats. All right, second quarter. about to get underway. It's the D's by 8 on ABC Sport. Gorn takes it straight out of the ruck against McAndrew. Tackled and dropped it, though. Play continues. And Steele's caught in a sandwich. Will get another ball up. Smack bang in the middle of the centre circle. Dawson on Fitzgerald. Rankin alongside Steele. Gorn wins it down. Clearing kick for the Crows, though. Laird gets it out towards Borlace, who sends to the eastern side. Langdon gets in the hole in front of Keys to cut it off, though, for the D's.
Poor kick from Borlace. Just releases the pressure, doesn't it?
Playing on the wing this season, Ed Langdon sends it towards the 50. Borlace gets in front but couldn't quite control it with the one hand. Van Rooyen spun, gives it back away. Miller to Berry, nearly sharp, just running across was Howes, trying to pick the pocket. And a ricochet is over the boundary line near the Rashudo stand.
Yeah, and even just another example, I think it was Berry that just handball, just kick the ball, get a bit of territory, kick the ball, don't overuse the ball by hand because, as we said at the moment, it's not quite working because Melbourne's pressure's pretty good.
They're reading it as well, aren't they?
Yep.
So boundary throw in. Ball just lands on the ground out towards Berry. He's tackled. Gets a handball back to Michaelani at right half back. High ball towards the wing. Philthorpe strong in front.
That's probably a good example of it, Tom. Michaelani just hacked it forward and you got big Philthorpe giving a contest ahead of the ball.
Up towards left half forward. Lever couldn't complete the mark. McAndrew sort of dropped the footy out towards Keys. Forward handball to Rochelle. Kicks in board to Taylor. Goes the required distance and he marks 35 out directly in front.
I love that from Rochelle again. Go more.
Apologies. It's taken on the half volley.
I think it wasn't 15.
Not the required journey.
Not the required, yeah.
So there's another throw there. So Melbourne get the free kick. Bowie handballs out towards Langdon. He's under pressure at left half back. Goes onto his right foot. Dangerous ball that Dawson reads best, but he dropped the mark. Dived upon on two Demons players and not much prior opportunity, but holding the ball.
As soon as you go to ground, I reckon in that scenario, they're just dying to pay holding the ball as they did on that occasion, the umpires.
Didn't really try to wriggle out of it or show he was making an attempt either. He just looked straight at the umpire and was pinged by Nathan Williamson. So Melksham switches it across. Turner with a short pass. Now Windsor spears it wide, right in front of the benches to Lever. Milestone man. All-Australian defender and premiership player with the Demons. Steps inboard, tries to thump it, but it ends up being a low one. Checked it late, trying to get it towards the 50. Melksham flew, couldn't control it. Sharp there as well as Tolstrup. Neither can gather, but Rankin can. He just zips through traffic with ease. Pendlebury-esque as he slows down time. Short pass to Miller. Now Borlace at right half back.
Oh, wow.
Kick down the line, just a little flat to Walker. The groan from Josh Francou. It's cut off by Howes. Melbourne now with a counter punch. Pickett turns centre wing. Spots Gorn, who has some space. Coming late, Murray with the fist. Spills out to Cross, though, in the back door. Turns to an open goal square. If he had popped it short, Van Rooyen was there. But he blazed away looking for glory and misses to the left. It's the D's by 9 in the second term.
Aaron, I did groan because that's Borlace's second turnover in almost as many minutes. And on that occasion, Cross just guilty of not being able to see Van Rooyen. That was another opportunity gone begging for the Demons.
Would have been a certain goal.
Yeah.
Miller up from right half back for Adelaide. Going long towards McAndrew. Gorn had some support in the back play with Langdon. Pickett put Steele under pressure. Tackled by Dawson. The ball goes forward. Langdon now kick inside the forward 50. That's well marked there by Murray. Wasn't to the advantage of Van Rooyen, but Nick Murray did a good job in the right back pocket.
So out to centre half back. He uses Berry. Shoots the handball to Laird. A little slow as he turns. Cross nearly mowed him down. Gets the kick away. Courageous. Dawson in traffic. Flies through. Heads for home from 50 and tumbles it through. Points to the Bradman stand and Jordan Dawson's got a double. Adelaide down 3. 4 minutes into the second term. It's 5-1-31 Melbourne. Adelaide 4-4-28. Jordan Dawson is just in absolutely sensational form. Lauren Arnell and Josh Francou.
Oh, he's unbelievable. That sort of play, he reminds me of Marcus Bontempelli. Just the ability to take a contested mark, running back with the flight, and to land as cleanly as he does. It's almost like a dancer. And the left foot finish. What a player. It's hard to compete with him, isn't it, Josh?
Well, I tell you what, the goal takes away from how courageous he was running back with the flight of the ball. He didn't know what was coming, and there was pressure coming from Melbourne, but to keep his eyes on the footy, running back with the flight, that's why our game is such a brutal game to play. It's a 360 game, and his ability to take the mark, and as you said, almost cat-like, wasn't it? Kept his feet, and the finish was equally as good.
McAndrew knocks it down, but he hit it straight to Max Gawn, who goes up towards right half forward for Melbourne. Reading it there was Laird, but he dropped the mark, but gets it back towards Peatling, running backwards. Michaelani to Rankin. Left half back for Adelaide, chips it forward towards Dawson, who was courageous again. Flying over the top there was Turner. He's still down on the ground. In the meantime, the Crows have it. Dawson's bounced back up towards Neil Bullen. Keeps it inside the paint of the boundary line. Kicks towards left half forward, gathered by Gawn. Flick back to Lever. He pumps it up towards the logo. Sharps, the man in front, gets a hand in there. Turner, tackled without it, but gathered. Handballs away to Langford. Intercepted at the moment by the Crows. Then it lands in the lap of Chandler. Runs towards centre half forward. Unloads from 50, but missed away to the left. Looked like he had that one, the young fella. In the end, it's going to be a minor score. Melbourne 5-2-32. Adelaide 4-4-28. 6 gone.
Stating the obvious, Tom, but they're the opportunities you've got to take. Must finish with a major, young Chandler.
So D's by 4. Moved out towards left half back by Adelaide. Langford trying to control the footy. Neil Bullen alongside him. Turner and Taylor there. Steele wins out. Hands it to McDonald. Back towards the 50 for Melbourne and cutting across. The mark is taken. Flinging across the boundary line by Cross. Crowd thought it might have been over the line, but the mark will be set right on the paint.
I'll tell you what, Melbourne have been outstanding this quarter. I know Adelaide have kicked a goal, but inside 50s at the moment at 6-2. It's played in their front half, and they look pretty dangerous and threatening, the Demons. Just got to hit the scoreboard now and make Adelaide pay the price.
So Paddy Cross starts on the fence. The ninth gamer who took Stephen May's list spot at the start of the season tries his best to work it all the way around from the right forward pocket. Plenty of angle and curl, just not enough to get around the goalpost. Minor score to the right. Melbourne with 3 behinds, currently lead by 5.
And when you have that much, Lauren, when you have that much dominance and field position, you've got to cash in.
Miller with a dangerous ball, but found Laird amongst 2 Ds. Just directing traffic, goes short to Berry at left half back.
They've been a bit cute, you reckon, with ball in hand here?
Yeah, the back half especially, they like to overdo the short kicks.
So Berry goes long this time. Thilthorpe and McAndrew there, rode by Nankervis, got a high tackle, gets the play on. They take the advantage through Taylor. In the middle of the ground is Rankin, 75 from home, looking for Keys. Working back was Langford with the spoil, and that's socked out towards the boundary line there by Rochelle in the Demons want deliberate.
Taylor Walker's got a little bit of feedback for Rankin as well. He's leading up really nicely in a heap of space, and Rankin bit off the harder one a bit deeper, and a nice little spoil for the D's there.
Wasn't good feedback?
Oh, I wouldn't have thought so.
Boundary throw-in in front of the scoreboard. Deep in the Crows' forward line. McAndrew gathers the footy. He's on top of it. Steele wants to take it away. And Gawn and Steele lay the tackle on the big ruck. And we'll have another ball up 30 from home.
D's by 5. Gawn, huge fist as he thumps it. Trying to exit defensive 50. Fritsch couldn't gather. Coughs it up to Barry. Tries the centering kick. Bowie got in front. Couldn't control the intercept though. Coming with the assist is Rivers, a hospital handball out to centre half back. And a strong tackle laid by Nankervis as he pulls Kate Chandler to the deck. And got to pull his shorts out of his jocks. Play continues. Gawn up towards the centre square. So again, he just looks for territory with the big fist. Fritsch gathers and releases Sharp, and Melbourne can break away. There's no one inside 50. Sharp will wait for Van Rooyen riding shotgun. His handball to him, but he fumbled, and it took an eternity to gather. Waits for Pickett to come. Handball a little long. Pickett didn't really commit to the footy with Keane coming the other way. Michael Annie picks it up. Mowed down. Turnover. Cross gets him. Pickett gets another crack. It's across the face. Minor score to the right. Melbourne by 6. 9 played, second term on ABC Sport.
I'll tell you what, if they could tidy up their efficiency inside 50 and make the most of their opportunities, they could blow this game apart at the moment.
They completely butchered that.
They didn't they? Absolutely butchered it. That's the best way to describe it.
And 3 on 2. and went wide, and the handball was a straight. Made Van Rooyen bend down way too far. Ends up with a flying shot on goal, a miss. So Sam Berry has it at right half back for Adelaide. Down the line towards Curtin. Leaping with the mark. Now on the logo, outer side is Peatling. Goes with a 45 kick towards Neil Bullen. Right half forward for Adelaide.
That's where I'd like to see them go a bit quicker in that scenario. He had Phil Thorpe one-on-one ahead of the ball, but chose to kick lateral, allowing Melbourne defenders to get back and support it.
So Lever got a hand in there. Phil Thorpe thought he was going to take that one easily on the chest. A quick kick out. Falls back with Alex Neil-Bullen. Premiership teammate Bailey Fritsch pushes him over. So he's 60 from goal. He's taking his time, Neil-Bullen, as if he's going to have a shot. Certainly won't be. So he's going to set this one up towards the top of the goal square. Phil Thorpe, Walker flies. Big fist from the back. Berry's at the front. Went through his hands. Van Rooyen from Melbourne's coming back the other way. Lays the tackle on Peatling. Gathered by Sparrow. Handball out of defence. Michael Annie's there. Tackled by Chandler. He was clean to Langdon. Now up the ground towards Cross with a sweeping handball towards Fritsch, who goes to ground but gets the handball away. Still running forward is Langdon. He's got Berry for company. Nick Murray for support for Berry, and a tackle out on centre wing. And the umpire's pinged him.
Yeah, that was there. It's just going to say really good pressure there from Melbourne and rewarded for it. Definitely holding the ball.
Smack bang in front of the Bashir stand. Paddy Cross will retreat back to defensive 50. Howes has some time to mop up his drop mark, and the crowd will give him the jeer. Uses Bowie. Drops down low to take the mark. Starting to get into some groove. Bowie as well after that foot injury at the start of the season. Season high 28 touches last week. Gets to McDonald. Now Rivers from right half back looking for Gawn. Just a little high, which is a tough task. Didn't hit his ruckman. Out the back, Miller are gathered. And Curvis was entangled with Tolstrup though and gives away the free kick. It's Harvey Langford has it in front of the benches. He'll hand it off. Rewarding the run of Rivers, who sets it up, 25 from home. Backtracking is Paddy Cross. Fritsch trying to fly. A couple of Crows get in front. Michael Annie wins out through ball ace. Gets it to Curtin. Heads to left half back. Had to be precise. It was excellent delivery to Nan Curvis. Had two Ds behind him with a couple of fists. Gets the pre-season pick. Nice and in front. Nan Curvis goes down the line, and before the ball even gets to the drop, there's another free kick against Adelaide for a hold, and Daniel Turner will get it.
I reckon Fogarty just caught behind. The Crows going that little bit quicker than they're used to.
Bowie goes short. Finds Tolstrup. Plays on 80 from home. Kicks up towards the goal square. Fisted down, and it's going to be a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for Melbourne.
Not happening for Adelaide at the moment, is it?
No.
In this second quarter, contested ball numbers getting smashed. They're minus 10, and inside 50's 9-5 Melbourne's way.
They're winning the quarter though.
Yeah,
quite remarkable.
Yeah, it is. And they, as we said, they've butchered some opportunities inside 50. The Demons, that goals that you'd almost put your glasses down, but have just found a way not to kick a goal. But if they can tidy that area of their game up, as I said, they're looking pretty threatening at the moment.
So Jordan Dawson with the only goal of the quarter. It's deep inside Melbourne's 50. Kenfield's there. Chandler gathered. Handballed over the top. Got it to Sparrow. Tackled by Peatling. Gathered by Keane. Handballs towards the boundary line where Windsor is for the Ds. It's come off his thigh. Paul Kahan wanting that out in the full, but we'll have another boundary thrown right half forward for the Ds.
Mentioned Jordan Dawson's goal as well, Tom. So he was off for a good 4 or 5 minutes there after that hard landing with Daniel Turner. We'll just check in with Josh very shortly to see what happened there, but he's back out on the park right now. Tossed in. McAndrew buffeted away by Kentfield. The third gamer takes it out of the ruck and snaps from 30. It's shallow and bounces wide right. Minor score again for the Ds. So 5 in the term to Adelaide's 1 goal. They lead by 7 points. Josh, what happened there with Jordan Dawson?
Yeah, he was fine. Just some running repairs on a shoulder, a couple of painkillers, but no real concern there. The one to watch is Sam Berry, who, of course, is having a career year. He's just gone down to the rooms with the doctor. Did have a little, maybe, head scare 10 minutes ago, so wondering if the ARC has intervened and he might be requiring a concussion test.
Oh, that's a good call from Josh. Berry was collided into an aerial contest with Miller. Took a while to get up.
So it's centre half back. Walker Hahn goes wide to Murray. Goes short to ball ace. And Nick Murray gathers again on the wing. That's a floater up towards left half forward. Fogarty got 2 hands to it. Couldn't complete the mark. Keys handballs towards Neil Bullen, who's wrapped up by Jack Steele at right half forward for Adelaide. So 5 straight goals in the first term for Melbourne, 5 straight points in the second. And they lead it by 7. So Thilthorpe takes it out of the ruck, goes to Rankin, flicks it back to Hawker-Hahn with the 1-2. Rankin now to Millerer. Another handball here. Back towards Rankin, who goes short to Keane. Now he goes inside the forward 50, looking for Keys, pushed off it, gathered by Taylor Walker, who snaps on the left. That would have been a special goal. Across the face of goal, punched over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in next to the right behind post. In front of the scoreboard, the Crows trail by 7 points.
Half-time in the World Cup, so Paraguay lead Turkey 1-0, but a red card against them. Socceroos would like them to win. It means we cannot finish last in our group. Likely to advance to the round of 32. Tossed in, Kentfield down. Picking it up is Turner, hard tackle, but got his kick away. Skies up to right half back. Tumbling towards Braden Cook, had 2 to beat. Ricochets out. Taylor flings it towards Murray. The Crows are going to head back in here. Cook checks the kick, trying to find the pocket where Saligo is. Triangle converges on him. Couple of fists and sparrows there. Quickly off a step, just tries to panic clear it. Pumped it out to right half back. Chandler getting in front of Dawson. But off hands, it rolls over the boundary line.
How important was Lever's little touch there? Just coming back with a flight, just enough to affect the kick and not connect inside 50 for the Crows.
Real arm wrestle between these 2 top 4 contenders. Winner will be 5th after today. It's Melbourne by 7. As Tom said, very inaccurate in the second term. Tossed in, tapped down. Tolstrup caught one below the belt, and his handballs a turnover in the process. Rankin towards the 50, big flying fist. Almost an awkward landing as well for Lever, who really flung his body in 20 from home. And it will be a boundary throw in 20 out.
Oh, defensive gold from Jake Lever. Those are the ones you're going to want to watch back during the week. Ripping spoil. Deep in defensive 50 for Melbourne.
So toss back in. Little shallow for Thilthorpe. Bowie picks it up, hands it to Howes. Melbourne are going to get the clearance here. Rivers can run through left half back, send it to the eastern side.
Hits the hands of Fritsch, who wants to play on quickly, goes inside the forward 50. The foot races on. He's hit the chest of his teammate who dropped a sitter. Jefferson. Goodness me. Another certain goal butchered by the D's. And we end up with a rush behind. Josh Money.
Yeah, good news for the Crows. Sam Berry has emerged from the rooms and now running back onto the ground, so nothing to worry about.
That's extraordinary, isn't it?
Back with the flight, well weighted, and he just juggled it and just couldn't reel it in with the fingertips. 3 bites, Jefferson. Unfortunate for the young star. Rory Laird from the right back pocket. Out to the eastern side, Walker flies, front position. Spills down to Langdon. His handball just fell over the line, but in the end he went for the disposal, and it will be a last disposal free kick. Adelaide get it right half back, trailing by 8. Should be much more. The D's haven't kicked a goal this term with 6 behinds. 5 straight in the first. Short pass to Saligo, back to Nankervis, and now Keane in defensive 50. Crows to the left-hand side of your radio dial, the northern end. Hill is jam-packed on this sunny day in South Australia. Nick Murray, the defensive edge, heads to Hawker-Hahn right in front of the benches. Methodical ball movement here from the Crows. Well weighted over the top. Gets it to Rochelle.
Kicks the ball well, doesn't he?
Centering pass. Attacking edge, Rory Laird. Now Adelaide pull the trigger. Laird inside 50. Thilthorpe's got to run. Front position. Dawson couldn't take it. Neil Bullen thought he was held. Berry commits. Hard tackle from Windsor. Gets in the ground. 45 out. Adelaide's 50.
So we'll have a ball up. 45 from goal. Thilthorpe with the knockdown. Knocked it out of their forward 50 though. Working hard. In at the bottom of the pack there was Sparrow, but had 2 bites of that handball, holding the ball. Laird handballs it off to Hawker-Hahn. Inside the forward 50, misses the target, falls out the back of the pack. Roving at the front with an underground handball was Peatling towards Cook. Steps inside, shrugs the tackle to Rochelle in the pocket. Rochelle goes the snap, but just across the face of goal, minus score. I mean, something from nothing, and against the complete run of play here at Adelaide Oval, minus score. Adelaide 4-5-29, Melbourne 5-6-36, almost at time on in second term.
5-star footy in the first quarter. It's been the opposite in the second. Neither side can really make the most. Melbourne's exiting kick no good. Nankervis cuts it off. Gets it to Taylor Walker, who pulls the kick from 50, trying to place it to Keys. Bounced a little wide. Lever can get it on the half volley. Hands it to Langdon. Looks to the exit. And out the back is Fritsch. He can turn and go. But again, nothing ahead. A lot of players trapped in Adelaide's attacking half. And closing the walls in is Keane and Nankervis. Handball smothered over the boundary line.
Well, you called it as everyone's trapped in the Crows front half, which means Walker's trying to sizzle one inside 50. There's nothing on. And then when the Ds get out, Fritsch has got nothing to kick to. They're really just relying on fast break score at the moment.
It was actually a good result, wasn't it? The boundary throw-in for Melbourne and Fritsch on that occasion.
Tossed in. Philthorpe down. His tap ricocheted off a few bodies and went backwards in the end. Laird with a diving tackle on Steele. We'll get a ball up. Had a question on the text line about the Paraguay-Turkey game and what that does mean for the Socceroos. They can't finish last if Paraguay win because they've changed the tiebreaker. It's not goal difference anymore. It's head-to-head, and we beat Turkey. So if they win, it's good for us. Langdon pushed over the boundary line out of the stoppage as he tried to get his kick away, and it's another last disposal free kick against him. Keen for the Crows to Curtin, now central to Dawson. In the square for Adelaide, they're trailing by 7. Still 4 minutes to go in the second quarter on ABC Sport. Dawson wide. Ball ace heads to Hawker Hahn on the broadcast wing. This is a thumping kick all the way from centre wing into the 50 over the head of Walker. Keys tries to tow it through. Rochelli's lurking as well, sliding across Tolstrup, and Gawn gets down low to win it. He handed it straight to his premiership teammate on the wrong side of Neil Bullen, but kicks too low across the body and straight back to Big Max. Melbourne get a mark to slow things down.
Melbourne are holding up really well. They're obviously flooding defensively, but Crows are putting on all the pressure offensively at the moment.
Oh, Nick Murray with the fly. He got up high. Oh, great intercept, grab. Goes back inside the forward 50, top of the goal square. Fogarty got 2 hands on it. Couldn't complete the mark. Saligo dives on it. Pinched by Pickett. His short kick's only 10 metres. Gets the handball out wide to Langdon. Rivers. Another handball to left half back. Finds his teammate. Gets it back to Rivers. Up towards Pickett, who registers the spoil. Sockers it towards Sparrow. He goes hard and gets the footy. Handballs to Windsor. Running hard now is Fitzgerald. Trying to find a target. Can he find Jefferson, who runs onto it? He embraces the tackle of Ball Ace. Handballs forward to Chandler. Left half forward goes to step inside, but falls over the boundary line in front of Murray. And he's been pinged for deliberate. Goodness me. He's just trying to evade an opponent.
Oh.
That's stiff.
That's a tough call. Asking the players to be perfect. We know the umpires aren't.
So a kick back up the eastern side. Throw a blanket over the 6-on-6. Heatling gets down low, wins it against Pickett. Hands it out to McAndrew, then Walker. The Crows just weaving their way through. Kurt with a couple of fumbles, but just keeps following up. Gets it to Keys. Now Dawson tries to ride the contact. Couldn't go for the footy, though, and the D's went out. Windsor gets it to Sparrow. Backtracking to McDonald. Off balance, tries to kick up to Fritsch. A little long. Carries over the back. And will it be a last disposal? Yes. And Curvis quickly grabs it. Right in front of the Bashir stand. Adelaide's down 7. Just the 1 goal this term. Plenty of behinds. Kicks over the top. Berry. Tight walking the boundary line. Heads to the 50, and Fogarty just edges Turner under the drop. Both hands were in the back, but it wasn't a big egregious shove. Takes it in front of the White Tower. 35 out, tight to the right.
Well, Aaron, I was just about to say that Melbourne are just hanging on here. They're hanging on by their fingernails, but eventually through weight of numbers and repeat entries, eventually they're going to hit the scoreboard and get the opportunity to do that, as they have now with Fogarty. It was good contested mark inside 50, and like Walker, another beautiful set shot for goal. Right in his wheelhouse.
Darcy Fogarty with the stutter step across the paint of 50, but a hard strike into the hill. It is dead straight through, and we've got a 1-point game at the Adelaide Oval. Darcy Fogarty on the board. Adelaide 5-5-35. Melbourne 5-6-36. Closing in on half-time on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Sport Digital. It is Saturday footy on ABC Sport. All-Australian midfielder and premiership player Lauren Arnell and Josh Francou here with you.
It was a nice finish from Fogarty as soon as he struck the ball. You could see the strut starting, but a bit unlucky for Melbourne. Chandler, unfortunate to get the free kick against in Melbourne's front half, but what it did for the Crows is open up their front half, and and finally release that congestion that they'd had for what felt like 5 or 6 minutes, guys. And it meant that Fogarty's by himself, not by himself, he's finally got a 1v1 as opposed to 8v8 in the Crows forward 50, and nice mark and finish.
Back in the middle of the ground, Gorn knocks it forward. Berry runs onto it, shrugs the tackle of steel. Handballs towards Saligo. It's going back inside the forward 50. Dawson was at the front of the contest, and leave it, Lauren.
Again.
Huge fist out towards the scoreboard, and we'll have a boundary throw in about 35 from Adelaide's goal.
A nice little 200-game highlight reel, I reckon. A couple of good spoils. Intercept marks.
So boundary throw in. D's lead by a point. Gorn tries to take it out of the ruck. Falls to the front in Pickett, who goes to steal. Kick out of defensive 50 towards the wing. Murray flew. Rove by Ball Ace. Gets it out towards Laird. They're going backwards here to Millerer. Centre half back in Michaelani. Complete the switch now to Nankervis, who shrugs the tackle of Rivers. Runs forward, handballs to Taylor. Got the short option in Neil Bullen or Walker. Allows it for Tex. Quick kick inside to no one really in particular. It's clean bowled Turner, but gets back out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in the left forward pocket. The Crows trail by a point.
I think Walker was trying to go fast inside for Rochelle, but that missed kick. Not a bad outcome for the Crows with a forward 50 stoppage.
Enough time for a late score, though. Tossed in, 25 out. Adelaide's 50. McAndrew in front, looking for Saligo. Fitzgerald gets in front, kicks around the body up to right half back. Laird puts the fist in on Chandler, and it rolls over the boundary line. Shout out on the text line to Laurel from Rushworth, who's enjoying the call and loving Josh Rochelle, who's a former Shepherd and Swan. Good to see him doing well. Woodsy also listening from Victor Harbour while setting up for the Winter Whale Festival tonight, says Go Demons. Just checking if this came off potentially Chandler's boot as he was escorted over the boundary line. It's actually gone near Sharp. So Nankervis edges Chandler over. Sharp's caught behind. But they're going to give it to Melbourne.
Yeah,
so it's the back heel of Nankervis.
Oh, I really dislike this part of the rule. It happens in AFLW as well. It's not an actual kick. It's
not a disposal over the boundary line, but they've deemed it so. Does that mean he gets a kick on his disposal count? There you go. You might be happy with that. Pickett takes the free kick. It heads to Chandler, who gives it to Sharp. The D's are moving very quickly here. Fritz uses the body to try and bounce off Cook and draws the free kick. He was the one who instigated it. Oh, there we go. Braden Cook gets it.
He's not afraid. It's just good body work and good forward craft from Fritch.
Check the space.
That's just a contest.
Yeah.
Cook up to the broadcast wing for Adelaide as the clock ticks down. Fogarty swarmed by 3. Whistle before the drop. Umpire points. Waiting for the signal to see which way we're going. It's the D's who will win it. Non-controlling umpire races in. Gorn quickly places it up to right half forward. Good fly across. Committing the body there from Van Rooyen.
Clock's ticking.
Might have to have the set shot here. He's got 3 for the afternoon, all in the first quarter. Now Jacob Van Rooyen will have to let one fly from 55. Tied at right half forward. Jacob Van Rooyen for something special. On the half-time siren. Van Rooyen gets close to the man on the mark, puts as much power in as he can. Well, the Bronx cheer will tell you the story. Off the side of the boot, no score, and it's Melbourne by a point at the major break. 5-6-36, plays 5-5-35. D's led by 8 at quarter time. Game high margin is just 9, and we've had the 1 lead change in it. So quality contest, just a very inefficient one in that second term. The D's kick 5 straight in the first and walk away in the second quarter with the 6 behinds. Adelaide, meanwhile, add the 2 goals, 1 to their tally. And as a result, it is that 1 point that separates these two teams. Text line 0437 774 774. Moen Malden says, is it just me or is Joel Fitzgerald the spitting image of Freddie Mercury? Might be drawing similar sized crowds in a few years if he keeps playing the way he is. Definitely has the moustache. The hairline's a little bit more brutal than I think Freddie had, but he's sorry, Joel. But no, he's a quality talent, isn't he, Joel Fitzgerald out there for the D's right now. He's got 7 touches in his second game after 26 last week as well. And, yeah, a couple of questions around the Socceroos, because it does get a little convoluted the way it works this year. Because I've mentioned after their loss 2-0 to the USA earlier this morning, it's now Paraguay and Turkey in their second game of Group D. Paraguay leads 1-0 but down a man with a red card. It's good for the Socceroos because what happens is the tiebreaker is head-to-head now, and we've beaten Turkey. So because it goes 48 teams into 32, the best 8 third-place teams will advance. We've had a win, so we're probably going to be in there. We could still finish as high as second if we can beat Paraguay, but should they win this afternoon, it pretty much gets us through to the next round.
Even a draw against Paraguay, would get us second because we've got a superior goal difference as it stands. A 1-0 result if Paraguay beat Turkey in that way. So it would be interesting, the tactics going into that game, because both teams, a draw is probably enough.
That being said, we're getting ahead of ourselves. 57-minute mark there. There's still plenty to play out between Turkey and Paraguay. But when it's done, we'll tell you what it means for the Roos. And that red card was weird. So late challenge at the end of the first half from Miguel Amaron. And the actual red card was because he got frustrated with the other player as they were checking it with VAR, and put his hand over his mouth and has obviously said something untoward, and that's why he got sent off. So it wasn't the challenge, it was actually what he's obviously said under his breath, which is quite surprising, and sounds like he's Paraguay's best player, so yeah, that's going to hurt them a fair bit when they play us on Friday, the Socceroos in Paraguay. Anyway, back to the footy. D's by a point. Lauren Arnell and Josh Francou are here to unpack it all, and just a little frustrating for D's fans, isn't it, Crew? They probably should have piled on a fair few majors there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned that at quarter time. Probably up until about the 15-minute mark of that second quarter, Melbourne looked really threatening, other than when they went inside 50, because they butchered a lot of opportunities. And as we said, they kicked 6 points in that second term. But they would definitely, and Stephen King would definitely be ruining those missed opportunities inside 50, because when you come into state, you play Adelaide on their home deck, they're threatening as it is, but you play them here, you've got to somehow nullify the crowd and take it out of there, take them out of the contest, and that's when you've got to be really diligent in terms of hitting the scoreboard and a little bit more efficiency inside 50 for Melbourne. But I thought Adelaide worked their way back into the contest after being probably dominated for the first half of that second quarter. They dominated field position, they got their front half game going, and you just felt it was just a matter of time before they were able to hit the scoreboard as they did through Fogarty. And I guess when you look at it in the context of the game and the overall sort of KPIs and numbers, we've actually got a really good contest on our hands.
And so interesting that the two teams that play starkly different brands of footy, don't they? It's just so contrasting. And the best way through the statistics I can explain it is the Crows have taken 76 marks in the first half.
Huge.
And Melbourne have taken 35. So particularly in that second quarter, it just really felt like the Crows were dominating field position for most of it, dominating the footy, and Melbourne, it's not as exciting to watch as the first quarter, but Melbourne held up defensively really well for the volume of time in front half that the Crows had. And now I guess the challenge for the D's is to be able to do more than just try and rely on fast break footy. And I thought the Crows defensively held up really well when it looked like Melbourne were out a couple of times. Players like Nick Murray just showing up on the goal line when he probably had no right to. Nankervis worked really, really hard on a wing. It's such different brands of footy. I hope in this third quarter we can get those fast break styles and a bit faster footy for both. Otherwise it just ends up in the stalemate that we saw for a big chunk of that second quarter.
Well, I think from Adelaide's point of view, if you had said Pickett's only going to have 10 first half touches and at only 1 point, you'd probably take that every day of the week. And we mentioned throughout the first half is that Peatling looks like he's going to him at certain times. It looks like he's just having a shootout with Rankin at other times, but Cozzy Pickett hasn't really had the impact on the game that we know he's capable of.
And if you're a Crows fan in the stands, you'd be so happy seeing Rankin back out there.
Yeah.
To half-time, he's had the 15 disposals and playing enormous amounts of time on ball, 220 metres gained. It's an impressive return from injury, isn't it?
Really all three guys that are back in the side. Like Taylor Walker's had a couple of brain fades heading inside 50, but has picked up a goal in the 8 touches, and Mark Keane certainly doesn't look like he's lost any pace, even though he's missed 281 days of senior footy. And Isaac Rankin back from the calf as well. Just the trio bolsters the lineup tremendously, I should say, Loz.
I'd like to give a shout to Nick Murray. I mentioned him turning up defensively when he had no right to, running the full length of the ground to save a goal, but he sits middle of the table statistically, but I think he's had some important involvements. He's had the 10 touches But importantly for the Crows, 287 metres gained, which is that more direct footy that I think sets them up well against the Ds. The Ds are going to drop numbers back and be heavy defensively for most of this game if you play slow enough. And I think the faster they go to guys like Thilthorpe, get him more involved in the game, you could potentially blow him out of the water.
And one of the other matchups as well, and we spoke about it pre-game, is the McAndrew-Gawn. So McAndrew, haven't really noticed him. He's only had the 2 disposals. I want to say haven't noticed him good or bad, but hasn't really had the impact in the game. He's had the 13 hit-outs, whereas Max Gawn, he's had 13 disposals, 18 hit-outs, and he's another one of those players that looks threatening to potentially break the game open.
It's a big test for young Lockie McAndrew. Just his 16th game this afternoon. He's been so good through the year, 3rd in the league for hit-outs, but Gawn is the benchmark.
Yeah.
He's eyeing a record 9th All-Australian Blazer, and we'll see what happens in the second half as that test continues. Shout out to Matt, who's listening from New York City in the middle of the night on the ABC Listen app. Great call and a great game. Hope the Demons have a victory. And Stephen Morley says, loving the call, happy for Melbourne, and how good are Fremantle? Yeah, absolutely flying, Lauren.
No, we're on Flagmantle. I just love them, and I love that they've come good. They've been through all the ups and downs that you have to go through. Most teams have to go through to be successful at the back end of a final series, and I'm so excited to see what they can do in September, and I'm hopeful for them, if I'm honest. I'd love to see Longmuir and that crew of guys, particularly those midfielders and all the tall forwards for Freo. Like, it's a special little team they've got there.
It is special, and they get these polarising characters in our game. Voss is one of those, but I can't take my eyes off him. Yeah. I love watching him play.
It's just a tall Hayden Ballantyne, isn't he?
Is that too harsh?
Well, I don't know. That might be the great analogy there. No, Paddy Ballantyne.
Yeah. And Shea Bolton, as a Richmond man, I remember, one in every month he'd have this terrific game, but it was the consistency. And at Fremantle this year, he's firing week in, week out. So they're in a good spot, Steve. Best of luck to them, but I know Dockers fans aren't really leaning into Flagmantle because they're just a little bit trepidatious given the history and the fact that it's still the middle of the season. You don't want to peak too early.
You're taking credit for that, Flag. I haven't heard that.
That's definitely not mine.
Sorry,
that's not mine.
Well, footy lingo.
Well, the rest of us who are not Freo supporters can get excited about it, right? I can completely appreciate where Freo supporters are coming from, but I think it's exciting times, and hopefully you have the capacity to enjoy the September that's ahead.
D's by a point here to kickstart your trifecta of footy with the Giants and Carlton to come, and Collingwood and Port Adelaide to wrap up your night at 6:45 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back for the second half very shortly. Keep your text coming, 0437 774 774. But for now on ABC Sport, we can get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. WA's Agriculture Minister says the state has formed an emergency response team to deal with the potential spread of bird flu to native wildlife. Testing of migratory birds from WA's southern coastline has confirmed highly pathogenic avian influenza is now present in Australia. The federal government says it's unclear whether the virus has spread through native populations. Jackie Jarvis says community cooperation will be crucial in keeping ahead of the spread of the disease.
The community can assist by reporting any dead or sick birds or marine mammals to the Emergency Animal Disease Hotline on 1800 675 888. People should also take steps to keep their pets away from wildlife.
The Prime Minister says his government will make a decision on whether to extend the cut to the fuel excise in the coming days. The temporary 50% cut was introduced to lower prices in Australia as it felt the effects of the US and Israeli war in Iran, but is set to expire at the end of this month. Anthony Albanese says there's more fuel in Australia now than there has been since 2023, and more is on the way.
I can announce that Export Finance Australia has secured with the private sector an additional 50 million litres of diesel, and that this shipment is now headed for Port Botany. Since February, the figures of securing nearly 800 million litres of diesel.
Lebanese security services say Israel has carried out a dozen airstrikes in the first hour after a ceasefire came into effect with the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militant group. US officials say the two sides have agreed to hold their fire as Washington looks to shore up its deal to end the war against Iran. A spokesperson for the Israeli military, Efi Defrin, says Israel will maintain its presence in Lebanon and will strike if necessary.
חיזבאללה במרחבים שונים During the night and until now, the IDF has attacked more than 100 Hezbollah targets. The strikes will continue as needed. Our fighters in southern Lebanon continue to destroy terrorist infrastructure. I want to make it clear, our forces on the ground have full operational freedom to deal with any threats in the area.
A woman has been killed and hundreds of tourists have been evacuated due to a large fire at a hotel in the Dominican Republic. Authorities say 46-year-old Italian woman Francesca Valentino died in the blaze at the Viva Wyndham Dominicus Beach Hotel in Bahia Bay. 3 people are being treated in hospital for their injuries. Video online shows thick clouds of smoke billowing out of the hotel as flames engulf the resort's straw roof. US President Donald Trump has shown off his new presidential jet gifted to him by Qatar. The plane's been converted into the new Air Force One and abandons the traditional robin's egg blue exterior for a bolder look. The underbelly of the plane is painted navy blue with a stripe above it, while the tail of the aircraft features a massive American flag. Mr. Trump says he'll take the jet to the NATO summit in Turkey next month, saying the plane's been transformed into a flying White House with a level of luxury nobody has ever seen before. Police are searching for a number of men over an alleged armed home invasion in Sydney's southwest. They say at least 4 men broke into a home at Yagoona armed with knives and threatened the residents before stealing jewellery and mobile phones. Police arrested 2 men in a nearby street shortly afterwards. No injuries were reported. An alleged sexual assault, a crowd crush and multiple flares set off in Melbourne have marred the excitement surrounding the World Cup soccer match between Australia and the United States. Yvette Gray reports.
Thousands of soccer fans packed Federation Square and Amy Park in the early hours of this morning, with a heavy police presence monitoring crowd behaviour. Police say 14 flares and 1 firework was set off at Federation Square. 2 people have so far been arrested as investigators trawl through CCTV to find others responsible. A 16-year-old boy was also arrested over an alleged sexual assault of a woman. He's expected to be charged on summons. Vision has also emerged of soccer fans pushing over a fence at an entry point to Federation Square. Police horses were deployed to control the crowd. 1 police officer injured their foot after being crushed against a barrier.
Australia went down 2-0 in that match against the United States. In today's other matches, Brazil's Mateus Cunha led that country to a dominant 3-0 win over Haiti. And earlier, Morocco defeated Scotland 1-0 to move into second place in Group C. You're up to date with ABC News. Get more news at any time. Download the ABC Listen app.
Tammy Shipley believed someone was out to hurt her. She's put under 24-hour surveillance, and then something strange happens.
Ambulance emergency.
Tammy's story. Search background briefing on ABC Listen.
The biggest stars in the women's game
Harmanpreet Kaur launches this all the way for 6.
are lighting up your winter nights.
Down the track comes Mooney. Cover drives to the boundary.
As ABC Sport brings you the ICC Women's T20 World Cup.
Big 6 from Phoebe Litchfield. And it's not just a win, it's a statement by Australia.
Every game live and uninterrupted on ABC Listen. Just look for the cricket button.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Berry hits the handball to Laird. A little slow as he turns. Cross nearly mowed him down. Gets the kick away. Courageous. Dawson in traffic. Flies through. Heads for home from 50 and tumbles it through. Points to the Bradman stand and Jordan Dawson's got a double. And Curvis quickly grabs it. Right in front of the sheer stand. Kicks over the top. Berry. Tight walking the boundary line, heads to the 50 and Fogarty just edges Turner under the drop. Both hands were in the back, but it wasn't a big egregious shove. Takes it in front of the white tower. 35 out, tight to the right. Darcy Fogarty with the stutter step across the paint of 50, but a hard strike into the hill. It is dead straight through. And we've got a 1-point game at the Adelaide Oval.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
1-point game at the Adelaide Oval to start your 3 fixtures here on ABC Sport. We've got the Giants and the Blues coming your way next at the Sydney Showgrounds. Collingwood and Port Adelaide at the MCG. All clubs feel like they're involved in the race to finals with the top 10 this year. and all of the matchups today separated by a couple of ladder positions, so they're all very important. We'll bring them to you live on ABC Local Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen as always. If you're just joining us, the news that we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, ABC News chatting to SA Health this morning, and the great Tony Modra's condition has been upgraded from critical to stable. So successful surgery overnight, as John Ralph reported on his face, and those around him, including Mark Rasciuto, who spoke to the Fox Footy today, saying that they are very optimistic about his recovery. So excellent news for one of the most beloved figures in the game, and particularly in the state of South Australia, Tony Modra, in a stable condition in hospital and recovering well, which is what we love to hear. And Anthony on the text line in Canberra says, I'd love to see Tony Modra toss the coin at Freo and Adelaide in round 23. A nice way to get the comeback. We'll see how it goes, Anthony, but at this stage we're just happy with the news that we're receiving day upon day. D's by a point here over Adelaide, 5-6-36, plays 5-5-35. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action for you alongside Lauren Arnell, the former Port Adelaide coach and Premiership Lion, and the four-time Showdown medalist and North Adelaide coach Josh Francou's here as well. News of the day in the round ball game, so the Socceroos a 2-0 loss to the USA. Does dent our chances of where we can finish, but doesn't completely evaporate them. We've got a game with Paraguay on Friday. They currently lead Turkey 1-0 in the 72-minute mark. They had a very early go at the goal in the second minute. And then right on the cusp of half-time, Miguel Almiron covering his mouth, getting a red card for saying something untoward. He's a Newcastle winger, arguably one of Paraguay's best players. So we'll hurt them when they play us. But at the moment, we just want them to win because it will help us in terms of the tie-break, which is head-to-head. And given we have beaten Turkey, it will help us if Paraguay win this one because we're very likely to advance as a result. So let's see if they can hang on, but they're down a man with, a good 20 minutes to go. We'll find out how that tracks across the afternoon and keep you updated with it. Also in the footy realm, Daniel Rioli has a fractured jaw, so Josh Weddle's in a bit of trouble for the bump on him. Matty Nix spoke to us in the build-up to the game this afternoon. If you do want to hear that full chat, jump on ABC Listen and have a look for the ABC AFL Daily podcast section. AFL Saturday gets uploaded there every week, as does AFL Sunday, so you can hear Corbin Middlemass and Mick Malthouse, Luke Ball, Cameron Ling, and then through the week we'll have Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio and Bob Murphy on as well. So you can hear Matty Nix's chat with the crew on the ABC AFL Daily podcast stream. All right, crew, let's get locked back in for what's been a terrific game so far. The D's very inaccurate in the second term. If you have just joined us, they kicked 5 straight in the first, 6 behinds in the second, and now it is a 1-point game. Question is, do we just start at the level playing field, Lauren, or is there anyone that has any momentum heading into this second half?
Oh, obviously the Crows owned the footy for most of that second quarter, and for me, I'd just love to see it go back to what we saw in the first quarter, which is just punch for punch. Open up the ground a little bit more, and by nature of the D's, like the way they like to play out of their back half is switch the ball and get it out into space, but they just couldn't get enough footy in enough attacking ground to do that. So I'd love to see the game open up. Josh, Francou.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And one player I'm looking at the moment as well is Cozzy Pickett, and there's big expectations on his shoulders, and all the Melbourne supporters out there needs to. And look, he's had 10 disposals, and I say he needs to inject himself in the game, but bring some of the electricity that he can bring and that we know that he's capable of to really set this Melbourne team alight. But from Adelaide's perspective, you're right, they did control the ball. A lot of kick mark. They've had 76 uncontested marks in that first half. So Melbourne somehow restrict that, but Cozzy Pickett start to get going a bit.
It's amazing the way that the D's play in their first year under Stephen King. This is exactly what the AFL want moving forward. They are so fast when they get the ball, and they just go. See if they've got enough to get over the line and win on the road for the first time this season. It's the battle for 5th right now on ABC Sport. D's by a point. And we're just waiting for the host broadcaster to get underway. But the players are in position. I don't think sounding the siren again is going to help, but finally we are going to get underway. The umpires just look very bamboozled here. It's blown twice. Nathan Williamson has the ball in the middle and looks a little frustrated. And finally, we're underway, Tom Wilson.
Okay, so McAndrew wins the hit out. Sparrows there waiting at the bottom of the pack. Handballs to Steele, kick towards centre half forward. Big bashing, crashing contest. Roved by Gawn up towards Van Rooyen, who is so good in the first quarter. Kick 3, gets a handball away. Cozzy Pickett tries to soccer it off the deck. Roving hard is Langford, but He's tackled off the kick by Peatling, who gets a relieving handball to Keys. Now to Cook, who sells some candy. Handball over the top to Keys. He's going to work to his left foot. Members side of the ground, long down the line. Looking for Rochelle. Falls out the back towards Neil Bull, and there's going to be a holding free. And it's going to go the way of Turner. Defensive side of centre wing for the D's.
Umpire hesitated on that one, but right in front of us, it was absolutely holding against Fogarty.
So Daniel Turner looks inboard for Melbourne. Their 1 point lead in the third. Kicks it to Lever, game 200. And the jeers against the former Crow in his milestone game have softened a little bit. Crowd still getting back to their seats. It's pretty packed here, though, at the Adelaide Oval. The sun's just disappeared a little bit, but nice day for it. Heads wide. Turner goes down the line. Van Rooyen out the back door wanted to break away. Coming back for a free kick anyway to Gawn. McAndrew doesn't quite agree with the call there. Gawn will take it anyway. Places it top of the goal square. Jefferson's there. Huge fly at the back, though. And an excellent mark through 3. What a clonk from Colton Tolstrup. He's popped up a little proppy as well. Gee, flung himself into that.
That was a terrific mark, wasn't it? That's your typical sort of pack mark. Landed heavily on the ground, but talk about efficiencies in front of goal. I'm not stating the obvious, but he needs to go back and nail this.
So Harvey Langford, 30 out, slightly to the left. Set shot to come towards the northern end. Langford off a couple of steps, gets the D's going early with a nice, comfortable set shot. No misses in the third. Melbourne's up by 7, 6-6-42. Plays 5-5-35. 2 played third quarter. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Lauren, I know it's only a very, very small sample size in this third quarter, but Max Gawn already influential in a couple of the plays for the Demons, and we mentioned him at the break. McAndrew hasn't had a huge impact on this contest, but Gawn is definitely threatening.
Yeah, lots of forward attacking run. I liked the clever kick there, and Langford playing from a wing. Braden Cook sort of hoping and not going with him in the contest. There's a clever kick from Gawn and a really nice contested mark from Langford.
17 goals for the year, played every single game. The pick taken after Sid Draper in the draft the year before. Crows took Sid at pick 4. Back in the middle of the ground, McAndrew just takes it out, throws it on the right boot, hit Cosy Pickett in the back of the head, and Bowie's able to rove it for Melbourne. Up towards left half forward. Flying over the back was Murray with the spoil. Langford, the goal kicker, roving. Tackled out over the boundary line by Braden Cook for the Crows.
What about Gawn's follow-up? Instead of hit Cosy Pickett, but the desperation from Gawn, I think, got a finger to that kick from McAndrew and caused and affected the turnover.
That's what makes him so great.
It does, yeah.
Love watching him play. Listening on the radio, in person. Just a superstar of the competition. Knocks it down, roved by Cook again. Kick partially smothered. Crows had the numbers, but that was clever by Windsor, who burst through the pack to Gawn to Chandler. Unloads with the left foot. This would be some team goal. Brilliant from the D's. And Chandler with the finish. That's 2 quick ones to start the third. There's 7-6-48. Adelaide 5-5-35. 4 gone third term.
You watch that one back, Josh, as a coach, and you get around Jack Steele. He's the one that put the fingers over the footy and got the smother on in the first place. And when the ball bounced back to him, super clean hands to release from congestion, and really nice finish for the D's. A super start to this quarter, but Jack Steele doing all the nice work inside the contest for the Demons.
Has a ruckman ever been tagged? That's a serious question. I'll tell you what, Gawn starts this third quarter. We only played 2.5 minutes, but 3 disposals, 100% kicking efficiency, 79 metres gain, and was again influential in that bit of play.
Tell you what, if they haven't, Luke Jackson's going to be a prime target over the next few weeks, the way he's playing. D's by 13. Gawn and McAndrew resume their battle, and the Crow wins out this time. Taps it to Berry, brushes off Sparrow, hands it to Dawson. It's an awkward bounce for him, though. Miller comes the other way to help. Gets it to McAndrew, then Dawson under a bit of pressure, trying to get through the tackle. Ball popped out. Melbourne get the turnover. Rivers towards the 50. Big push from ball ace on Melksham. And Melksham did have a bit of his Guernsey in the process. So free kick goes the way of the Crow.
Tell you what, they're looking all right, the D's. 4 inside 50s. Adelaide yet to breach their forward 50.
So in front of the light tower, James Borlace to the eastern wing, kicking to the southern end, right-hand side of your radio, looking for Dawson. Steele in front, hits the deck. Taylor, clean, whips out of there. Short chip kick, didn't carry enough to Neil Bullen, who asked the question, was that 15? But Bowie has paid the mark on the intercept. Heads back to Lever, right half back. D's by 13 points. Jack Steele cost Melbourne a future third pick. He'd be pretty happy with that. Short pass back through the logo. Rivers tried to sweep the handball across to Lever. A little soft, but got the job done in the end. Gets it to Turner, who threads the kick, flaring across the body, looking for Van Rooyen. Couldn't control it. Adelaide have the numbers on the drop. Ball ace to Murray. And now the exiting kick to come from Max Michaelani.
Kicks it down the line, but Lever's in best position. Marks in front of his opposing number 8 and Josh Rochelle. It's a bit sore out there. Might have landed awkwardly on the AstroTurf, which is there next to the fence line, and he's still down. So he's got Rivers over there to have a chat, but still on his haunches is Jake Lever in his milestone game.
We've got a bit of a push from Rochelle as well, just for his troubles.
Landed right on the knee as he hit the turf. The actual point of the cap.
He's on his feet now, and he's going to take his kick. So some brave work there from Jake Lever. Still gets some boos for his troubles. Goes short to Chandler, who flicks it into the centre square with Bowie. All the players deep in defence, so he's going to kick towards the pocket, but it was the advantage there of Dan Curtin for the Crows. Marks in front of Jefferson. In the left back pocket. Rolls around on that left boot. Clearing kick up towards Thilthorpe. Fists it away and cleverly done there by Langford. Gets it to Sharp. He runs towards right half forward, centering ball, but Pickett, that could be the biggest mismatch because McAndrew just took that mark over the top.
Through defensive 50 go the Crows. McAndrew to Miller. Now out wide to Dawson. Has a runner. Releases Keane. Screws it across the body to Hul Kahan. Nearly intercepted. Steele got back with a hand, but Adelaide mop it up. McAndrew to Berry to Miller. They're channeling some Melbourne energy here. Fast handball chain. Taylor towards the 50. Little long for Thilthorpe, wrestling with Lever. Fist comes in on the bounce from the Demons defender. Only finds his former teammate. Neil Bullen lowers the eyes, centres the kick and squares it up to Ben Keys. 30 out, slightly to the left.
Well, I just looked at Lever in that marking contest. I thought he did pretty well against Thilthorpe, not to give away a free kick. But then once the ball was sort of cleared from the area with that punch from Lever, he just sort of stood on his haunches and spectated. Didn't really do anything, did he?
He'd have to be sore from that previous contest. He barely moved.
Yeah, he didn't move. He didn't defend. And that was a strange bit of play.
Ben Keys had the 2 Brownlow votes the last time these side met. It's a very awkward run. Keys with the stutter step late. Still delivers true. Flat bullet through the big sticks. Margins back down to 7. Ben Keys on the board. 7-6-48 of the Ds. Adelaide 6-5-41. 9 played third term on ABC Sport with Lauren Arnell and Josh Franco.
I like the counterpunch, Josh, from the Crows through the middle of the ground. We talked a little bit in that first quarter how the Ds had set up defensively really well to protect the corridor. And on that occasion, their mids just got sucked inside that first little handball, and which allowed Adelaide to get out through the middle and certainly look so dangerous when they do that.
Well, I reckon it was a really important goal for Adelaide because they were under siege. The inside 50s were 7-zip for this quarter. Clearances, they're losing field position off the back of that. But against the flow, against that little sort of mini momentum swing, it was a really important goal for the Crows.
Back in the middle, McAndrew, clean tap towards Rankin. Going back inside the forward 50 up towards right half forward. McDonald got 2 hands on it. Roving was Neil Bullen. He runs to the paint of the boundary line looking for a short pass. Couldn't complete the mark and he's bowled over. Good work in defence here from Melbourne. McDonald keeps it in. Kicks it out of defence up towards Fritsch. With a fist in there was Michaelani. Good contest here at Adelaide Oval.
I'm enjoying the Ds. Like, you look at their ladder position, wow, they're 5th. They haven't won away from Victoria, but they're holding up really well into this third quarter at Adelaide Oval.
I think regardless of how it plays out, they've stood up to the test. They're ready to match it with the best through this year. Tossed in, gone with the fist, only found Nankervis. Shrugged the tackle of Fritsch, was a little high and will come back as he blazed away inside 50.
Is that a bit late, you reckon, Az? The call?
Yeah, I mean, he'd already kicked. And as I mentioned as well, he definitely raised the shoulder to try and slip it higher. So Fritsch would be a little bit frustrated with that. Luke Nankervis just between the attacking edge and right half forward, decides to retreat back on the 45. The D's have flooded defensive 50. So Nick Murray through the centre square. Short to ball ace behind the centre circle. Will complete the switch out wide. Mark Keane, the man from County Cork. First game this year after the broken leg. Spearing pass, that's good. Gets it to Michael Annie, who releases Miller. A long-range strike from downtown. In an instant, Adelaide go bang. Looks stagnant, pulled the trigger, and Wayne Miller flushes it. Second of the year, his first of the afternoon. Melbourne 7-6-48. Adelaide down by a point, 7-5-47 on ABC Sport. 11 played third term.
Well, Lauren, I thought it was a really well orchestrated goal there from Adelaide. They were sort of pinned in this sort of member side wing of Adelaide Oval, but then just chipped the ball around the arc, if you like, back through the middle of the corridor, and eventually, I think it was Michael Annie that popped out in the middle of the ground and the handball receive. And I'll tell you what, Miller is developing into a player, isn't he?
What a year he's having.
Yeah, he's outstanding.
I mean, I've seen a few of the half-time All-Australian squads. I've seen him not in many. That's ridiculous. He should be locked in at half-back with the impact that he's having. It's just so clean, and a finish like that. Gawn wins the hit out. Gathered in the middle of the ground with the 1-2. Looking for Steele, who rides the tackle of Rankin. Who just welcomed it, knowing that he was going to get wrapped up. Quick ball up from the umpire. Gawn wins it down again. McAndrew tries to take it out. Fritsch at the bottom of the pack. Paul Kahan in there as well. McAndrew on the hands and knees. Flicks it forward up towards Neil Bullen, who wraps up Tolstrup in the tackle. We'll have another ball up just forward of the logo, Crows Way. Got a bit of momentum here, the home side, trailing by a point. Bursting through there was Curtin, right into the back of his D's opponent, and was right in front of the umpire.
He thought about it for a while too, didn't he? I thought he was a bit late on the call, but yeah, definitely a push in the back.
So Short finds his teammate in Fitzgerald, just Langford. It's a worm burner towards Steele, who was clean with the ground ball. Langford inside the forward 50, looking for Van Rooyen. Couldn't get his hands up in the contest. That was clever from Taylor. Knocked it to Nankervis. Went the 1-2 with Hall Kahan to Saligo, working it by hand. Right in the tackle was Laird, and it's easy to take him high at centre half back. He wins the free.
Has a runner, dishes it off. Michael Annie heads to the eastern side, kicks a little long. Taylor tracking it. He's under a bit of pressure though. Breathing down his neck was Rivers. Then he stands through the tackle, gets rid of him. Hands it to Ben Keys. Up to left half forward. Adelaide inside 50. The fog was rising in South Australia. Skies cleared. He spotted it early. And Darcy Fogarty clunks it 20 out.
Well, what I will say, I was just looking at the replay as that play was unfolding of the Laird tackle. You know, I reckon that's one of those iffy ones that shouldn't be paid. Maybe technically it was there, but I reckon he shrugged it, went high, and I reckon that's play on.
Darcy Fogarty starts from 40 out. Short approach, straight in front, leans back, and converts his second. Adelaide hits the front for the first time since the 24-minute mark of the opening term. 8-5-53 plays Melbourne 7-6-48. 3 straight for the Crows at the 14-minute mark of the third term on ABC Sport with Lauren Arnell and Josh Francou. Josh, money downstairs.
Yeah, concern on the Crows bench for James Borlase in a contract year. The defender has just come from the ground and signalling to his groin in the hands of the Docs as we speak.
Well, it's what we hoped for this third quarter. The game's opened up a lot more than what we saw in that second term, and thought Zach Taylor's involvement in that scoring chain for Adelaide was really important. He got involved in that back half, nice little touch, and then standing up in the tackle. It meant they had Dan Turner on the back foot. Fogarty a free run at the footy.
So Thilthorpe in the ruck, knocks it down to Berry, back towards Peatling, all the way to centre half back, and Miller tries to shrug the tackle of Jefferson. He was worried out of it. Chandler goes inside the forward 50, a bit of a kick in hope towards the goal square. Keane rushing back, he wants to get it through, decides to keep it in and hits Hall Kahan.
How's the composure of Keane then?
Nice kick too.
Wasn't it?
The keenest of composure to Hall Kahan, who goes to Rankin in the left back pocket. Second touch of the term, and he kicks it straight to Rivers. Turnover quickly. 45 ball to Steele. About 80 from home. Wants to handball it off. Does so. Rivers goes back inside the forward 50. Fritsch the fly. Couldn't complete the mark. Brought it to ground. Ball in dispute. Crows have a few numbers. A clever handball out towards Thilthorpe. He goes wider towards Laird. And in the tackle, he got the handball to Paul Kahan, who's quick kick. Well, it got the clearing out of danger. But waiting there was Tom McDonald, the logo for the D's.
It was good forward pressure there from Melbourne. Forced that errant kick, and Melbourne set up really well defensively behind the footy.
Donald drops it to the corridor. Daniel Turner's there. Moves closer to the centre circle to Joel Fitzgerald. Truck driver a few weeks ago. Now he's a senior AFL footballer. Short pass rewards the lead of Sparrow. South Australian drills it into the 50, little long for Jacob Van Rooyen. Nick Murray up the back, takes the intercept mark, places it to the right back pocket. Taken by Max Michaelani. Sparrow, the Adelaide Hills product, is out of contract. Both South Australian clubs want him. Michaelani heads to Cook, tunnelled late. Trying to contest it was Bowie. Gets the free kick right half back.
Sorry, I'm really disappointed with Pickett's game. He's not working hard enough, can't get near the footy and having no influence.
Cook down the line, Lever. In fact, it was Kedfield who got hands to it. The second ruck in front of Thilthorpe, knocks it out over the boundary line. Forward of centre wing, Crows way.
Yeah, I can credit to Melbourne, though. Every time Adelaide looked threatening to break the game open, they're hanging in there pretty well. Again, going back to Pickett, needs to start influencing this contest.
Thilthorpe knocks it down, straight towards the boundary. And Jefferson sees us over in front of Rankin.
I reckon on what you're saying, Josh, just watching the way Peatling's treating Pickett at stoppage, he's making sure, as the defender, Peatling has front position, so he's not allowing Pickett to spit through as the first one. He's got to get it on the outside, which I think doesn't really suit Pickett's game.
Another boundary throw in. Thilthorpe down again to Rankin. Took on the tackle. It was a high one. So he wins the free.
Even further to that, Lauren, I'm again watching him at the stoppages. He's just not testing the opposition out at all. Right. Get on the move, get on the fly like Rankin did at that stoppage and drew the free kick.
Rankin's kick inside the forward 50 was best read by Tolstrup.
Sends it back where it came from, but a bit more meaty this kick. Carries towards the logo. Big fly again from Murray. Had a hanger in the first half. Couldn't complete that one. Van Rooyen pounces, gives it to Chandler. Sparrow back to Van Rooyen. Tried to walk through the Cook tackle without the footy. Then gathers and knocks it towards Chandler. He's wrapped up by Max Michaelani. The Crows' pressure was relentless, and they win the free kick at right half back.
A really positive sign from the Crows. Michaelani's strong tackle, but they had serious numbers showing up defensively to help him out.
Shades of the Dogs win last week. Absolutely everywhere to force every single disposal. Down the line, Michaelani. Pickett thought about a hanger. Nowhere near the drop in the end, but does follow up. Handball out central and caught high just after he disposed it. So it's coming right back. Meanwhile, Dawson with a heavy tackle as well as he pulled Paul Tolstrup to the ground. But it is Cozzy Pickett's free kick. Has some time to hand it off to Bowie. Drills a low one. Bailey Fritsch just behind left half forward for the D's. They're down 5 after leading for the majority of the game. Bailey Fritsch to snap a run of 3. Sends it inside 50. Couple of flyers. Van Rooyen waiting front and square. Hands it to Paddy Cross. Pushed off his kick. It's curling from 20. Not enough bend. Minor score on the right. It's Adelaide by 4 as we approach time on in the third term on ABC Sport.
Third behind for Cross. It's their first score in 15 minutes of play. Trailing by 4 points. So Mark Keane brings it out. Finds Cook. Defensive side of centre wing. Close to right half back. Looking for Fogarty on the lead, but that was gutsy from Bowie. Knocks it out over the boundary line right next to the interchange gates.
Keane's kicking the ball well, isn't he? For his first game of AFL this year, he's using the ball exceptionally well by foot.
What a handy inclusion to have. Waiting in the wings. Boundary throw in. Gawn v Thilthorpe. Sharp went without it. Sparrow got it. Kick towards centre half forward. Hits the chest of Van Rooyen. Gets it to Chandler. Steps inside Rory Laird from 45 metres out. They've got it. Look at Chandler go. He's pumped with that. The D's are back in front and he's got his second. They're 8-7-55. Adelaide 8-5-53. We're into time on in the third term.
Well, just another example, as we said, when you kind of think Adelaide are going to start to control momentum, then Melbourne just somehow find the ability to hit the scoreboard, and against the flow, really good result. They're hanging in there. One thing I will say though, and I know I'm on this bloke's case, but I'm looking at Cozzy Pickett, and it's probably a harsh thing to say, but I reckon he's waved the white flag. He's not giving a yelp.
Bit of context there as well. Like, Melbourne are playing as a whole very well, but they are one of the few teams who have their bye next week and didn't have an opening round one. So they've gone the full season essentially without a break, and he's probably begging for the week off, to be honest, Cozzy, when he's getting so much pressure. D's by 2, 3 lead changes in the game. Gawn takes it out of the ruck. Quick clearance for Melbourne as it rolls up to right half forward. Awkward bounce though for Fritsch coming out of the 50. Sparrow does well to get on hands and knees, extract the footy, and then quickly had a kick into the 50, not really looking ahead. Cross becomes the tackler, and Michael Annie will get a ball up 20 out. Josh Money downstairs.
Yeah, James Borlay's back on the ground for the Crows. Had about 5 minutes of work done on that groin, but ready to return.
Tossed up, McAndrew with the overhead tap. Looking for Miller up. Pickett coming through as well. Left the footy behind. Windsor wins it. Gets it back to Gawn. Centering kicks are high up and under. Sharp didn't really commit. Berry coming through, as was Pickett. Hard tackle laid. Ball up to come. Still in the D's 50. We're 35 out.
It's lurking here, Cozzy Pickett. Trying to inject himself in the game in a tough afternoon. Gawn knocks it towards Fritsch. Goes to ground. Able to shuffle it out. Steele picks it up. He had Dawson as company. Fritsch, handball to Windsor, who was under enormous pressure. Rochelle working hard his tackle. Gets a quick kick away. Does it go out? I think Miller was trying to get hands on that. Not in time, so it's going to be a Lasso free kick. Langdon goes inside the forward 50 now. Flying Van Rooyen got first hands on it. Had 4 bites of the cherry. A Crow's hand in there. Ball in dispute at the bottom of the pack. Working hard was Michael, and he wins the free.
A little bit unlucky there, Van Rooyen. It was all one-handed touches. If he got 2 on at any point in time, that would have been called a mark.
So a free kick, a relieving one for the Crows. Michael Annie from full-back. Out towards left half-back. Gawn got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Sparrow gathered the footy, having an afternoon out here in his home city.
Just with Pickett here, he's obviously still playing as a mid. Peatling's wearing him well, and you just want to see a little bump at least from a teammate to let him get through the stoppage. He looks like he's all out there by himself.
D's by 2. Gawn straight down to Sparrow as he was entangled with McAndrew, and Sparrow kicks around the body and hits Jefferson inside 50. Fortuitous drop. 45 out. Melbourne a chance to go bang here.
And Lauren, even further to that, if I'm standing Cozzy Pickett, I don't want him to run at stoppage and blitz through, and he's not doing it, so he's easy to negate in that scenario. But you're right, can he get some help from teammates?
First round pick from a few years ago, now out of contract. Had 5 against the Bombers in the VFL last week to earn this spot. Matthew Jefferson from 50. Jeez, absolutely hit that hard, but missed to the right. Minor score, and it's Melbourne by 3 in the third term.
You just wonder whether a Jack Steele, with the experience he's got, is someone who can get Cozzy on the move, get him spinning through a little bit more. And then the next question as a coach is, does Stephen King look to put him forward and get a little bit more dangerous in that part of the ground?
All Kahan brings it out. Berry did well to create a contest, but the handball from Peatley missed the target. Windsor wraps up Laird at centre half back. Saligo spitting through, but tackled there by Rivers.
Inside 50s this quarter as well, 16-6, so that's in favour of Melbourne. That's plus 10 and clearances plus 7.
Still a tight game here. Windsor knocks it towards centre half forward. Bursting through was Van Rooyen. Gets a handball away to Windsor. To Sparrow, who cleverly knocked it forward, but Nick Murray read it best. Gathers the footy, tries to kick it out, smothered by Windsor. Gawn sends it back inside the 50. This is a high ball. Miller goes the spoil. Roved and a big tackle holding the footy. This tackling pressure, Michael Annie again. Crows win it back.
Feel for Paddy Cross. He almost had too much time at the drop of the ball.
Rather than headlights, wasn't he? Just froze.
D's by 3. Lauren Arnell, Josh Francou with you on ABC Sport this afternoon. Cracking start to our 3 fixtures. Exiting kick to Nankervis.
Yeah, he's had a good game, Nankervis.
Yep. One of those on the cusp you'd think of selection given the names coming back in, but play well.
Yeah.
Can't really be cut. Inbound to Hall Kahan. And now Dawson just behind the logo. And a rough landing in a contest with Daniel Turner in the second. Missed a bit of footy as a result. So had a really hot first quarter. A little quieter since then, but still helping. Dawson wide. Sam Berry has it near the benches. Update in the World Cup. Paraguay's held on. So down a man, they win 1-0 against Turkey. The Socceroos cannot finish last in their group. Down the line go the Crows, and Walker forced to spoil from behind. So context of that means we'll play Paraguay on Friday. Should we win, we're definitely going to be advancing through, and if we can draw or lose, there's still a potential there that we can advance by being the best placed third team, one of the 8 best placed third teams. Gorn down to Pickett, looks to switch, it's Dicey. Out to Langan on the eastern side. Cook came the other way, the 2-15s. Keys now battling with Melksham. Adelaide's going to win out with Saligo. Gets it on the bounce to Dawson. Hooks it across the body on that lethal left. Braden Cook in his showdown winning spot. Short kick out to Walker, who marked, faked like he was going to stop, and then turned on a dime. Blasts it to the top of the goal square, and Howes gets the fist in on Thilthorpe. Final score, it is the D's by 2 as we run end-to-end with a flurry of behinds.
Thought Gorn did really well to get back and help defensively there.
Oh, a poor kick in, put Sparrow under enormous pressure. He looked like he threw that out to Tolstrup. Missed by the umpire, kick down the line, read best by Nankervis. Forward of centre wing, Members side. Finds a target in the middle of the ground, Hall Kahan. Forward corner of the centre square. He's trying to get it to his skipper, Jordan Dawson, who's roving around there. But Hall Kahan will send it inside the forward 50. Rochelle waits at the front and roves at the front, but is immediately tackled. And there's a high one in a contest going the way of Melbourne. So Max Gorn's going to get the free against McAndrew.
He's doing a lot of heavy lifting, Max Gorn, to help as a spare defensively.
You can hear the feedback from the Crows crowd. This is a dangerous ball across the ground. Turner shoved his opponent out the way. And Keys is going to win the free kick. Handballs it off to Millerer, looking for a target inside. McAndrew was brave against the flight. He's going to get paid a free kick against, but he's going to be worse for wear. Front on contact. The big ruckman is down. Not quite out, but holding his face.
Well, this isn't good, is it?
It's almost the bottom of the elbow coming the other way that's caught him in the head. So purely accidental, but Jake Lever's gone for the mark, and it's come down on his head.
I think the knee to the ribs as well.
He'll have to come up. At least do a test, won't he?
He will. Lever was going to take the mark. Yeah. So the free kick is there, but the bravery from the big man. Docs are surrounding him now.
I think his head bounced as well when he landed, which doesn't help.
I'll tell you what, I'm no doctor, but just the look of that incident, I can't see him being allowed to play any more minutes. That was a heavy collision.
The other worrying part is that means Riley Thilthorpe becomes your main ruckman, and as we've touched on in the last few weeks on the local program, Josh, that puts him at a big risk himself.
It does.
I think with Worrell, Toby Murray out as well, you're starting to look a little bit lean in your back half if Gorn's dropping forward.
And the problem you've got there is Gorn is an absolute star. He's no mug, is he? He's, as we said at sort of half-time, he's the potential game breaker for Melbourne, and this just adds to the headaches that Matthew Nicks has in the coach's box currently. But that was a big collision. Holding his
So he's walking off the ground. He's at centre-half forward for Adelaide at the moment. He's got 3 trainers around him just chatting to him. Always a good sign to see them walking off the ground. And we'll be waiting until he does get off the ground. Hear the cheers from the crowd.
How long does it take to do a HIA test?
It's normally a 20-minute process. Once they come off the ground and decide to do the HIA.
You see Fogarty's going to be the player that comes on for him. Is there any chance they let Thilthorpe stay forward, or does he have to ruck out at least this third quarter?
Yeah, I think he has to ruck. All right. Thilthorpe.
So the D's by 2. Clearance count 12-3 Melbourne's way in this term, and now Adelaide without a ruckman. Down the line, kicks good. Jefferson, far from home, takes the mark in front. Crowd stunned silence at the moment. Just a bit of nervous energy around the ground. Jefferson looks to the attacking edge. Van Rooyen caught behind Dawson but couldn't take the mark. The Crows skipper spills out. Windsor just throws it on the boot. Jamming kick forward. Fogarty's got back.
It's a good pattern from Fogarty. He went spare defensively straight away. Smart run.
Short pass towards the scoreboard. Luke Nankervis has it. Josh Money downstairs.
Yeah, and straight to the Crows' rooms for Lockie McAndrew, so we won't see him for at least 15 minutes, you'd think.
So Nankervis to Miller, across the defensive goal face to Rory Laird. Doesn't look confident moving the ball forward. Melbourne zoning ahead. Laird will try and place it in the gap. Curtin was the target, clattered into. Dowie from behind. Curtin pops up and asks the question, but it rolls over the boundary line.
Here's one for left field. Look at Curtin in the ruck. How tall is he?
He's a pretty good utility, isn't he? Why not throw it in?
And almost treat it as an extra midfielder.
197.
Wow.
Good work.
Yeah.
Tossed in. Thilthorpe battling with Gawn. The ladder wins out. Gawn straight to Pickett, who shrugs off the tackle. Breaks away from the stoppage. Wheels around. Drills the kick to Jefferson. It bounced off his chest, but Sharp was there waiting. Kicks up to the top of the goal square. Melksham battling there with Keane. Fist comes in. Dawson on the bounce. Fends off Howes. He's so strong. Hands it out wide to Cook in front of the scoreboard. Back to left half forward for Fogarty. Kicks a little hot. He scored it underneath it by Lever. Paddling amongst it is the whole strip, and it rolls over the boundary line. It'll be tossed in a play. Foggy reckon it might have come off a boot. We have seen them check it this afternoon. Gives us some time to check back in with Josh Money.
Well, just on Jordan Dawson there with that fend off, that's the right shoulder he had work done on in the first half, so it shows how tough he is. No sign of McAndrew yet.
So it is a boundary throw-in, crowd unhappy. Gawn takes it out of the ruck. Thilthorpe tackles him for his troubles. Ball shoots out to Langdon, and the siren will run down the third term. And I don't know what kind of emotion that is. It's a culmination for the Crows of frustration with the umpiring, the worry over Lockie McAndrew, and the potential for this to be a dropped home game. It is the D's by 2 in the battle for fifth. 8-8-56 plays 8-6-54 heading into the final quarter on ABC Sport. Our goal scorers for the afternoon for the D's: 3 to Van Rooyen, all in the first term, 2 to Langford and Chandler, and 1 to Matty Jefferson. For the Crows, doubles for Dawson and Fogarty, and individual goals to Keys, Rochelle, Walker and Miller. Big day of footy coming up. So Collingwood and Port Adelaide at the MCG to wrap up the trifecta from 6:45 Eastern Standard Time. And up next, it's the Giants and the Blues at the Sydney Showgrounds. We'll hear from them next in the build-up. It's great to have your company on ABC Local Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Do you know the next Australian of the Year? Are they raising funds for those in need? Or building a brighter future? Conducting research? Or inspiring future astronauts? See them, hear them, nominate them at australianoftheyear.org.au.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Down road by Cook again, kick partially smothered. Crows had the numbers, but that was clever by Windsor, who burst through the back to Gawn to Chandler, unloads with the left foot. This would be some key goal. Brilliant from the D's.
Taylor towards the 50, little long for Thilthorpe, wrestling with Lever. This comes in on the bounce from the Demons defender, only finds his former teammate Neil Bullen, lowers the eyes, centres the kick and squares it up to Ben Keys. Very awkward run. Keys with the stutter step late, still delivers true. Mark Keane, the man from County Cork, first game this year after the broken leg. Spearing pass, that's good. Gets it to Michaelani, who releases Miller. A long-range strike from downtown. In an instant, Adelaide go bang.
Sparrow got it. Kick towards centre half forward. Hits the chest of Van Rooyen. Gets it to Chandler. Steps inside Rory Laird from 45 metres out. They've got it. Look at Chandler go. He's pumped with that.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
We've been spoilt with 9 single-digit thrillers at the Adelaide Oval this season, and we might just be about to witness another. Melbourne by 2 at three-quarter time over Adelaide. 8-8-56 plays 8-6-54. Big injury concerns over Lockie McAndrew, who's down in the rooms after a big collision with Jake Lever. So Max Gawn might be the dominant ruckman in this final term. Massive day of sport. So the Socceroos lost 2-0 to the USA earlier this morning. The flip side is Paraguay held on to win against Turkey despite being a man down. They win 1-0. What that means for us is we play them on Friday. Win or draw, we finish second in advance. If we lose, we finish third, but we're still probably likely to get through anyway because we've had a win, so we could be part of the best 8 teams to finish third. So Socceroos, even though they had the loss, probably been a good day overall with that victory for Paraguay. Still to come, Collingwood and Port Adelaide tonight at the G, but up next it is the Giants and the Blues at the Sydney Showgrounds. Ben Cameron's there as part of the team and what has been a thrilling day of action. Ben, what are you anticipating out in Sydney?
Yeah, thank you, Az. It's been all care, no responsibility for caretaker coach Josh Fraser. Can his dream run continue? 4 from 4? Can he make it 5? The Giants, meanwhile, they've been the masters of the second half run in recent seasons, including 9 out of 10 last year, 7 in a row the year before that, and 11 of 13 back in 2023. I was hoping to have team news for you. That's not available yet, unfortunately. But I can tell you about our team. The 05 Premiership player Ty Kennelly, the triple threat Alicia Eva, player, coach and analyst, Declan Byrne and myself to call, and Phil Pryor on the boundary. I can't wait. The Giants and the Blues coming up following your game.
Looking forward to it, Benny. It's a big day of action. So Collingwood with later tonight, they could jump into the top 10. The Giants and the Blues obviously on the cusp as well of a wild card position. And this afternoon, we're battling for 5th between the Crows and the D's. So excellent day. Do not go anywhere. ABC Listen, your home of the AFL this season. Lauren Arnell, Josh Francou here, watching this cracking contest that's going to go to the wire, Loz.
Oh, the biggest question for me right now, and Josh, I'm hoping you can help me, is who rucks for Adelaide in this last quarter? We know how banged up Thilthorpe is. We know he can ruck. But are you doing yourself any favours by making him ruck against Gawn in this last quarter, knowing how bad his back's been throughout this season already, knowing you're trying to frame yourself for finals? What alternatives are there? I'm struggling. I'm looking at, the next best tools in your front half are Fogarty and Walker, and there's no way they can run with Gawn.
No, well, look, it's intriguing. It's interesting what they're going to do because whoever does it is going to lose the hit. So even if you put Thilthorpe in, Gawn's still going to get his hands on the footy. I'm almost expecting that he's just going to belt the ball forward and try to get a bit of speed onto it from Melbourne's perspective. So the person that goes on there has to be able to run with him, but also has to cash in at ground level. So that's why I mentioned even a Curtin. Curtin wants to play on ball, and I know it's a high risk. I guess what I'm saying there, centre bounce don't jump, but around the ground just get a little bit of body and then play as an extra mid, like Gawn does anyway. But I get what you're saying, but I think Thilthorpe's a Ferrari as well, so don't put him in there. But they're running out of options. Is it Murray? And that's been the story
lean into
of this
something
quarter.
Like that, to be fair.
Absolutely.
Or a Ball-A's maybe. He's got the size, he's fit.
Do you know what? Do you put Jordan Dawson, basically just stand next to him at the ball-ups and throw-ins, and you get an extra mid around the footy? I don't know. It's interesting.
It's a big challenge for the Crows coaching group. And the other side for the D's is, I know we've been relatively critical of Keziah Pickett throughout the first 3 quarters or 2 quarters, but he did look like he was starting to get on the move.
Yep.
They must have been listening to our call, Josh.
Yeah, they must have been.
He was getting on the move at stoppage and just beginning to look pretty dangerous in this game. So if what you've said is correct, and Gawn's a very smart ruck, we know that. If he starts hitting it forward and Keziah Pickett's on the move, that's one element. But we've just seen him go forward to start this last quarter.
Yeah.
So direct line to the coach's box we've got here at ABC. So Cozzy Pickett forward, Riley Thilthorpe in the ruck, Josh Money's on the boundary.
Thought was with the midfield group as well during that 3/4 time huddle, so he's certainly going to be the main man. James Borlase is one who in the past has gone in there as well.
Here we go, big finish coming up on ABC Sport. D's by 2, Gawn out of the middle, hands it out, clearing kick to come from Fitzgerald, and down in back play is James Peatling, who caught one in the belly, up towards the 50. Couple of flies, Jefferson involved, off hands it rolls out towards the boundary, kick across the face though and nearly taken by Cross. Miller gets his head in, tries to win the footy, it's coming back anyway, bit of a shove on Dan Curtin, so he'll win it in the right back pocket for the Crows. But geez, electric from the Demons early there.
Just those half chances. Thought it could have almost taken the mark there, or should have taken the mark, but
player to slow down because Paddy Cross had him backed up the 10, gave Melbourne some time to set up. And the exiting kick will come straight back in, or it would have had there not been an arm over the shoulder intercepted by Tolstrup. But ultimately the footy's handed to Taylor for the Crows.
At right half back, kicks a high ball long down the line. Flying is McDonald, brought to ground. Rove by Langdon, handball to Lever. Has to keep this in. Snaps it around the body. Too much on that for Turnabit. Windsor roved it, tried to get it to Tolstrup, hit him in the back of the head. Taylor grabbed it to Miller, to Curtin. all the way back to Laird and Dawson. This is a daring kick through the middle of the ground. The D's have the numbers, but they also have a fumble. Pressure on, right half forward. Taylor dives on the footy. Shoveled out towards Neil Bullen. Quick kick around the body. Rochelle flies over Lever. Slight hold. Socket it forward like the Socceroos. Running onto it is Taylor Walker. Sweeping handball to Rochelle. Can't quite gather. But when he does gather, he goals! That's his second. What a start for Adelaide in the final term. They hit the front. 9-6-60. Melbourne 8-8-56. 2 gone final term.
Well, that fumble from Howes, I think it was, Tom, that absolutely costly for Melbourne. Just cannot afford to fumble the footy. And then they worked it well in the end, and we saw some Rochelle magic to kick that goal as he was being tackled. But, good bit of play there, but paying the price for a fumble.
A good touch from Taylor Walker as well to get it forward for him. And what I found interesting throughout that play was Gawn actually dropped deep as defender, and Lever came up on Thilthorpe, which left Gawn out the back with Walker. And he didn't go with him to that first fall of the ball, which allowed Walker to get the ball through for Rochelle to make the most of that opportunity.
So Crows by 4. 4 lead changes across the afternoon, and the margins never got higher than 13. Excellent start to your Saturday. Tossed up, gone down, straight to Chandler, who breaks away off the half-back line towards the 50 for the D's. It's a long entry, but too high for Van Rooyen, and out the back, James Borlace takes the intercept mark.
Again, just another missed opportunity, wasn't it? Full face of goal and missed the kick.
Borlace to the eastern side, and getting in front is Thilthorpe. Wanted to play on quickly. Chandler had it scouted, but the handball does eventually get to Neil Bullen. Turns around and Walker's on the overlap. Uncontested mark. Gives it off to the run of Curtin. From 60, Dan Curtin towards the goal square. Rochelle between two. Nearly pulled it in. Knocked through for a minor score on the right-hand side. It is Adelaide by 5 early stages of the fourth.
Well, I thought Lever was outstanding defensively there. Just dropped back in the path of Rochelle, and outstanding bit of play.
So the D's bring it in short through Chandler. Josh Money on the boundary.
Tom, a huge boost for the Crows. Lockie McAndrew has returned from the rooms, just asked for his mouth guard, so all signs point to him returning.
That's a huge result for Adelaide. So Joel Fitzgerald wins the free kick over Rankin, right half back for Melbourne. So Thilthorpe's been in the ruck in his place to start this last quarter, but Lockie McAndrew to come back on after a big knock late in that third term. Well, Max Gawn dropped an uncontested mark. Puts himself under pressure, had some support by hand, gets it to Bowie, whose kick's partially smothered by Peatling. Well, you don't often see the big man make a mistake like that. And there's a bit of afters with Thilthorpe and Tolstrup. After that smother from Peatling, we'll have a boundary throw in right in front of the D's bench, who trail by 5 points.
Toss into play. Gawn gets there first. Thilthorpe caught behind. Gawn knocks it down and gets it to Fitzgerald. On the hop skip, Cade Chandler just bounces on the right boot, puts it on the left, up to right half forward. Little short for Van Rooyen, but he rips it out of the arms of Nankervis. Just can't find a teammate. Saligo gets the turnover and gives it straight back. Tolstrup nearly run down by Dawson. It's all happening at right half forward for the D's. Van Rooyen into the 50, and Miller is smashed into. Hard spoil from Cross, who came right into him. Ball pops out. Sharp gets it towards the top of the goal square. Jefferson takes the mark. My goodness, Wayne Miller is lucky to pop up from that.
What I will say, though, is what was wrong with that contest?
Nothing.
He just going for the ball. It was a
old school forward
absolutely.
craft.
I don't know what the
and it was a clean spoil.
100%
it was just heavy. It just ran through it.
I think the supporters are a little bit peeved that they didn't get a free kick. He didn't get a free kick there, but there was definitely nothing in that. In fact, it probably makes the highlight reel Monday.
So Matty Jefferson from 30, couple of steps, leans back, gets his second, and the D's back in front. 1 point game at the Adelaide Oval. 9-8-62 plays 9-7-61. 5 minutes into the final term on ABC Sport with Josh Francou and Lauren Arnell.
McAndrew back on.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I'll say that.
So
and it does help the Crows if he's healthy. Thilthorpe had blown up within 5 minutes and couldn't even get through the ruck contest in the last minute or so of that play. But yeah, exceptional forward craft from Cross. It was a heavy spoil, but it's expected of AFL forwards. If a spare defender's going to sit in front of you and the ball's popped up, you have to come through and spoil it, and that's what he did. It created the goal for Melbourne.
What a great contest we've seen today at Adelaide Oval. A real arm wrestle. Melbourne with their noses in front, just by a point. Back in the middle of the ground, Steele. Tackled immediately there by Berry and Dawson, so we'll do it all again. McAndrew works hard against Gawn. Steele gets a hand in there. Neil Bullen comes in from the forward line, kicks a banana kick forward up to left half forward. Fogarty's trying to run onto it. Lever will be happy to see it out. Got a slight nudge, no free.
Solid 200th game for Jake Lever, isn't it?
Yeah.
So reliable.
Just on the picket as well. He's stuck deep forward for them at the moment. Maybe Stephen King is thinking he's not going to be able to turn his game around in the midfield, so he's put him forward, but he's not, again, having any influence in this last quarter.
Boundary throw in inside the Crows 50. Gawn knocked it down towards Sharp. A slight high one there from Cook. Missed by the umpire, so we'll have another ball up. Left half forward for Adelaide, trailing by a point. McAndrew down, Sparrow roves. Quick kick around the body. Fritsch is there, couldn't gather. Nankervis gets it to Millerer for Adelaide. All the way out to Cook. His kick was smothered by Sharp. Clever goes the 1-2 with Jefferson. Here's Cozzy Pickett with an opportunity. He's 75 from home. He runs to the 50, puts the afterburners on, goes for home. It's away to the left. And it's bouncing on its point and dribbles over for a minor score. You're a bit amused there, Josh.
Yeah, not sure what he was thinking.
Had a lot more time.
He did. Just keep running.
Challenging a bit of the World Cup where draw the keeper out and chip it over the top, but just didn't have the carry.
So this is a arc review just to see if it touched the behind post.
I reckon it did.
Throw in, won't it?
Yep.
Which would be a better result for Melbourne.
So it will be a boundary throw in here for the D's.
And it's one of the few moments throughout the game that he's looked electrifying. We just couldn't get the final result.
Melbourne by a point, 9 minutes into the final term. Sun-baked as the Riverbank stands. A gorgeous day in South Australia. Giants and the Blues up next. Tossed in very, very shallow. That is a miserable boundary throw-in. I know Ben Cameron's all over the lengths of boundary throw-ins, but that one was never a chance.
The wind's going with him too.
Let's see if he goes again. Gives it everything he can. That's enough. McAndrew in front. Taps it down against Kentfield. Adelaide win out. Laird to Miller, then Berry. Heads to the eastern side. Rochelli just nudged under the drop. Turner did well alongside Lever. Ball bouncing errantly. Coming in was Bowie. Can't quite get it to Chandler. Fogarty cuts it off, but he can't find his bootlaces under the tackle. Melbourne there again. Sparrow wide to Langdon. Stopping and propping. Finally, Howes can send it forward. They have the outnumber on Cozzy Pickett. Michael Annie keeps him covered. Ball ace cuts it off. Cross defensive 50 who'll go to Nankervis. The D's by a point. Final term on ABC Sport.
9.5 minutes gone. Cook's got it in the left back pocket. Well weighted kick to Dawson. Just got his hand to it. Bit of pressure from Windsor. So we'll have a boundary throw in. About 80 from Melbourne's goal. So a big turnout from the Crows fans today. 46,337. This battle for fifth place between Melbourne and the Crows. The D's lead it by a point. Boundary throw in. Steele was clean. Gets it to Rivers. One-on-one contest. If it gets all the way there to Cozzy Pickett, but it fell shorter than that. Melksham versus Keane, and the big Crows defender takes the intercept mark.
Third biggest home and away crowd between these two sides. Wayne Miller heads to the eastern side. Laird had to wait a while for it. The fist came in from Windsor.
That's a good mark.
He plucked it well, didn't he? Contested grab near the Williams stand. Melbourne by a point still. Rory Laird. Down the line looking for a Shelley and Fogarty. Neither could take it. On the ground, Keys becomes the tackler. Holds up Howes. Ball up to come. Nathan Williamson to toss it into the air. Listening in the ACT, you'll be headed to the NRL after this game, the West Tigers and the Dolphins. Everybody else to the Sydney Showgrounds for GWS and Carlton. Out of the stoppage, Rory Laird manages to turn away from Sparrow, hands it to Berry right on the boundary line and works the kick well. Darcy Fogarty has it behind right half forward, steps around the body, kicks towards Walker. He was held behind and getting in front was Turner, but just couldn't take the intercept mark. Under a bit of pressure, Keys lays the tackle. Deliberately almost handed over there by Howes. It will be a boundary throw in, 45 out. Should mention as well, if you missed us at the top of the broadcast, SA Health confirming today Tony Modris' status in hospital has been upgraded from critical to stable. And Mark Prosciutto confirming just recently on Fox that he is awake and with his family, which is great news. Tossed in, McAndrew down. He's looking for Rankin, nudged away from it. Tackle laid by Fogarty. Got McDonald there, rolls towards the behind line. Rochelli's doing his best to keep it in. The scrum will push him over. Question is, was he on the right side of the behind post or not? He was, so it will be a point. And the scores will be level. 62 apiece, 12 to go at the Adelaide Oval.
Reminiscent of Wednesday night's State of Origin game, that one. 4 of them carrying the ball over the line.
9-8 apiece. Bowie to bring it in for the D's. Makes his teammate work and then goes the 1-2. Kicks out wide towards Van Rooyen. Roving was Curtin, running over the top of it for the time being, but got it to Keane, who handballed it straight to Melbourne, handballed it straight to the Curtin. And we'll have a ball up. So Melksham there, handballed it straight to his opponent, returned the favour. We'll have a ball up outer side of the ground, just by the logo. McAndrew up against Kentfield. Kentfield knocks it down. Windsor bursting through, couldn't gather the footy. Berry's there as well for Adelaide. And he's wrapped up in the tackle. And we'll do it all again. So we're locked away here at Adelaide Oval. 13 minutes gone in this final term. In a seesawing affair. A great battle for 5th on the ladder. Saligo's at the bottom of the pack after the ball up. And we'll have another one.
Oh, if Melbourne can win this stoppage and kick it forward, you've got Pickett v. Is that Michael Annie inside 50 with plenty of space.
McAndrew wins it down, but there's a holding free kick in the process going his way. Adelaide just forward of centre wing, outer side. McAndrew hands it to Rankin. Fogarty's on the march. He honours him just outside the arc. Steps off his line and now has to rush. Fogarty to the top of the goal square. Walker trying to fly, as was Rochelli. Fist comes in. Lever couldn't get a disposal away. Sharp put his head sliding in, and Cook catches him high in the process. Definitely dropped the knees and kind of soccer style slid in. Gets the free kick, D50 for the D's.
He's had a positive start to this last quarter, Harry Sharp. A really quiet game up until this point.
Long kick out of defence. Flying again was Murray. There's a Shepherd in the contest going the way of Mark Keane. So the Crows will get the footy back, about 80 from home.
He's just a reliable player, isn't he, Keane?
Yeah. And uses it so well.
Yeah, he does.
With a lot of confidence. So it goes short to McAndrew. Hall Kahan running past. Ignores him. He wants someone running past as McAndrew. He's just going to set this one up. Chips it up towards Walker. Fists it away by Turner. Going in hard with the Rove was Saligo. And he handballed it straight to Turner. He's got a high ball coming out of defence, and sitting under it is McAndrew. Nothing's worrying him.
Decides to hand it off. Mark Keane attacking edge. Spots something he likes. 30 from home. It was Jan Curtin. Langdon got there late. Hand in, and Kentfield just paddles it towards the line under no pressure. Couple of Crows asked the question. Curtis Du Bois won't give them the answer thereafter.
Tell you what, look, just looking at the Melbourne bench. Sorry, Lauren, they're trying to get Max Gawn on.
He's been off for 5 minutes, and McAndrew's taken those intercept marks.
Yeah.
Scores level. 15 played, final term. Adelaide's 50 tossed in. McAndrew takes it out of the ruck against Kentfield. Hands it off to Berry on the tight angle. Screws it to the goal square. Fogarty caught behind, and Turner does enough to knock it through. Not sure what the goal umpire and the field umpire are questioning here. Has it actually come off a boot on the way that it's rolled through? Score review heading upstairs, but it is a behind on the soft call.
Gives the D's a chance to reset their bench. They've been hanging out for a few rotations, especially to get Max Gawn on the ground.
Quick review has bounced off the forearm through the goal, and even a bit of the quad of Darcy Fogarty. So will be a minor score, but it will give Adelaide the lead. They're up by a point. Josh Money's downstairs.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Max Gawn has now come onto the ground. McAndrew's come off because he started this quarter in the rooms. It sort of means there's a bit of a mismatch with the rotation, so it's now Phil Thorpe v Gawn again.
Good observation down on the boundary. And Trent Rivers will bring it out from fullback. They're down a point now, the D's, after that rush behind. His quick kick out of defence was a high one, and Cook took the mark, and it hurt Langford in the process. Back inside the forward 50, Fogarty with the one hand. Would have been something special. Roving was Dawson, but it gets out over the boundary line before he could gather. So Langford is sore in back play. We'll have a boundary throw in 25 from Adelaide's goal, leading by a solitary point. Thilthorpe and Gawn. Thilthorpe knocks it down. Roving was Howes. Gets it to Gawn. Chandler on his right boot. Clearing kick for the time being up towards Keane. And a big tackle. No prior opportunity there, though, for Jefferson. And we'll have a ball up. Defensive side of centre wing for the D's. They trail by a point. We're halfway through this final term.
Quickly tossed up. Gawn takes it out of the right. Thilthorpe wraps him up. Ball shoots out. Nankervis gathers. Is coming back for a push. Thilthorpe falling forward in the tackle. Max Gawn to receive it. A lot of momentum as he kind of broke away from the stoppage, and Thilthorpe tried his best to caress him down, but Gawn fell flat. The D skipper down the line looking for Jefferson. Late hand from Saligo coming through. Fritsch wrapped up as he gathered the footy by Nankervis. Ball up right half forward, and the 46,000 are riding every single touch.
He should have been holding the ball, and it wasn't in the back.
Gone down to Cook. Quick kick through the stoppage. Couple of hands in the way. Big fist coming through from Colton Tolstrup rather, but only found Dawson. Adelaide go the other way, but Melbourne are well set. Turner retreats with a handball. Gets it to McDonald. Back where it came from, and Thilthorpe flies from behind to clunk the mark for the Crows at the defensive edge.
Quickly switches the play to centre half back. Goes to Keane. Hawker Hahn's moving forward. There's a lot of space in the Crows forward line. Kicks to right half forward. There's Keys.
What a kick.
Can roll around on his left foot. Does so now. Looking for Dawson! The skipper floated forward. Takes the mark. 30 out on a 45-degree angle.
I'll tell you what, that kick from Hawker Hahn was absolutely unbelievable. Had no room for error, and then it sets up that entry inside 50 for Dawson to mark it.
Had 2 goals early in this game. Big moment for Jordan Dawson.
They normally snap them from here, don't they?
Yes.
Not this bloke.
Surely
not this guy.
No.
He's got the most beautiful drop punt.
Yep.
In he comes. 35 out. Drop punt. Can't quite squeeze it in. Just away to the left. So a rare miss for Jordan Dawson in front of the big sticks. They're 9-10-64. Melbourne 9-8-62.
3 straight behinds for the Crows. They've kicked 1 forward at just the one major this final term, but to have the lead. Playing on out of defence. The D's kick not that great, but still makes it work. Hands it to the run of Tolstrup up to the logo. Gawn trying to take it as he flew in up against Murray, and a bit of high contact there. Murray clutches his head. Free kick to go the way of the Crows.
Yeah, big swinging arm from Gawn, wasn't it?
Borlase as well. He's really stood up in this last quarter. He was the 1v1 down the line against Gawn and managed to equalise it.
Right on the top of the scone. The switch is on. Nick Murray to Max Michaelani. Dan Curtin now forward to the logo, eastern side. He'll arc inboard. DC low and hard into the 50. Steele cuts off Dawson. Stands in front to take the intercept mark for the Demons. Down 2. Still 7 to go. Jack Steele with a short pass wide.
Steele's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the D's at the moment. He's trying to go with Dawson around the ground when Dawson spits forward.
Turner to Sparrow, little long to his kick to Sharp in the corridor. It's a dangerous area. Hawker Hahn gets it to Taylor. The Crows will give up some ground to Steady. Max Michaelani behind the centre circle to Nankervis. This is pinpoint passing. Neil Bullen turns it right half forward, heads into the 50. Dawson's got 3 to beat, but the D's defenders collide, trying to mop it up. Tolstrup gets the handball back. Gawn loops it over the top. Howes can get it to the scoreboard, and the clearing kick from Turner heads out to left half back to Sparrow.
Well, he came the mark himself. I think everyone thought he marked it, but it was play on for the umpire. The handball forward towards Chandler. Pickett again goes forward. They're working hard here through Rivers. Out wider to Langdon. He fumbled under the pressure. The Crows could win this out without having the numbers. Ball in dispute. Saligo knocked it forward to Hawker Hahn, who's composed. Now to Michaelani, and Fogarty gets it centre wing. They've got space with Keys at right half forward. Hits his chest. assesses his options, goes on the left boot, inside the forward 50 to Thilthorpe, who worked back on Max Gawn. Marks 40 out on a slight angle to the right.
Well, you talk about critical moments in the game. What have we got? About 6 minutes of actual game time left. The margin's only 2 points, but just some critical moments and critical ball use errors from Melbourne just allows that window to open up for the Crows, and an entry inside 50 when you've got a big key forward like Thilthorpe who demands the ball with his body language and his lead. It was outstanding bit of play.
It's the first time the three-headed monster have played together since round 2. Fogarty's on the board. Walker's on the board. Now Thilthorpe. Big goal from the big fella. Extends the margin to 8 points there. 10-10-70. Melbourne 9-8-62. 22 gone final term.
There's just no questions asked for Thilthorpe, isn't it? He's gritted the teeth and done anything that's required for his team, particularly in this last quarter, and just such presence, hasn't he, guys? His lead up at the footy you mentioned, Josh, was exceptional. You can't ignore that. The finish, never in doubt. And you just start, for me, I start thinking about a couple of weeks ago against the Cats. It was a tight game. There were a couple of injuries. And Adelaide gritted their teeth here at home, and just feels like that again. They're showing up in numbers defensively. Melbourne have had missed opportunities as a less experienced team, and just got to fancy the Crows at this point in time.
The D's have been electric all afternoon, and they led for a large majority of the first half. So they have another blow to keep going toe-to-toe with the Crows. Adelaide by 8. Gawn down, and they found Dawson. Sparrow right alongside him. Good tackle. Ball up centre square.
Pickett back on ball, as for Melbourne. They've got to get something going for him.
Up against Peatling. Gawn swats it forward. Nankervis tracking. Tangled with Chandler. Another ball up. Still in the centre square, but Melbourne's attacking half.
He's got to get on the move, doesn't he? We've spoken about that. Lauren, he's just got to get on the move at stoppage, Pickett.
Down to Sparrow. Tackled by McAndrew. Gave away the footy. Taylor walks out of trouble. Heads to the eastern side. Dan Curtin just guides it over the top to Rochelle. You can turn and go for a run through the Bashir stand up to right half forward. Kick was nowhere. Straight to Jake Lever. And 50. You called it early, Loz. Riley Thilthorpe came from behind to stand the mark. And they'll play on before he even gets the full mark. Lever will hand it to Bowie in the corridor. Kicks towards the 50. They all fly as one. Fist towards Pickett. Should have taken it and fumbled. Now outside the attacking arc. Sparrow gives it away with a handball to Berry. The D's have had some calamitous errors under pressure. Adelaide's going to win out. So Taylor Walker had the mark off the exiting kick. Cozzy Pickett ripped it out of his hands, and it will be 50. Did not give it back. And Cozzy's disastrous afternoon continues. Hasn't been damaging and has given away a very costly penalty late. That being said, the mark doesn't quite look 50. From the defensive edge, just forward of centre wing. Taylor Walker into the scoreboard for Adelaide. Drops it just outside the arc. Dan Curtin takes the mark.
I'd almost argue it's worth having a shot from here. It's almost an impossible angle, but if you take the full 30 seconds off the clock, he's got a really nice kick on him. It's worth a shot at goal. 8 points up, 4.5 to go.
He's read your mind, Lauren. This is no Ben Mackay from 70. This is a chance. Adelaide by 8. Close finish at the Adelaide Oval. Dan Curtin runs around, gives it everything, misses to the right. Crows by 9. Still plenty of time for the Demons here.
Certainly is, Aaron. Still 4 minutes of actual game time left on the clock, so they don't have to panic, but they do need to score.
Bowie plays on, kicks it out of defence, but that's all the way out of bounds on the full.
That's not what they wanted.
Just missed the target, Turner. He took the mark, but he was over the boundary line, so Taylor gets the free kick for Adelaide, and he's just going to pump this in long. Up towards McAndrew, fisted down. Walker taps it towards Rankin. He tries the left foot dribble up, and it just bounced a bit too hard left early. So another minus score, 10-12-72. Melbourne 9-8-62, 26 gone final term.
Melbourne realise they've got to go. Rivers plays on, heads to the eastern side with a long kick. Put down by Langdon, but Chandler's there. Gathers and hands it across. Fitzgerald has the run of Windsor. Here come the D's at their fast footy best. Melbourne inside 50. Melksham in front. Late spoil comes from who else? Jordan Dawson. Absolutely inspirational, the skipper. Gets the footy back from Ben Keys. Kicks up the broadcast wing and Walker out muscles Lever. What a matchup that is after the war of words from his departure, but just couldn't stick the mark. It rolls over the boundary line. Broadcast side centre wing, Adelaide by 10 on ABC Sport.
He did all the hard work there, Big Tex.
Called it a couple of times, but Dawson is the spare for the Crows and looks rock solid back there to defend a 10-point lead.
So Gawn takes it out of the ruck. There's going to be a free kick against him. He can't believe it. Like he was just too strong for McAndrew there. The umpire thought otherwise, so McAndrew's going all the way back. This is a defensive inside 50. Back to Keane. They're happy to milk the clock here, the Crows. Goes to left half back, Nick Murray, making Cook work hard for it. Langford on the mark, just outside the D50. So leading by 10 points. 27 minutes gone in this final term. Goes long down the line now. McDonald was in front. It was Turner, in fact. He's soccering it to his advantage, but it went straight to Rochelle, who was clean, and that was clever. The vision to McAndrew. There's no one on the mark. So it's 50. The umpire asked someone to stand, and they moved away, and it was Cozzy Pickett. His second 50 within 2 minutes.
Is it a day to forget, old Cozzy? But you called it. What about that composure and execution under pressure by Rochelle? Just to find the mark, diffuse the pressure.
So Lockie McAndrew was off the ground. I always thought he might have been knocked out. So brave in a contest against Jake Lever. Had the head injury assessment. Is back on the ground in this final term. Just won a free kick against Max Gawn. Took the mark. Does the crab walk. Set sail for home and missed. Thanks, mate. 10-13-73. Melbourne 9-8-62. 28 and a half gone.
Last 7 scoring shots to the Crows, but the D's are still in this if they can go. Out to the eastern side, McDonald heads for Gawn. Fists come in, but Chandler's front and square again. Hands it towards Fritsch. Down the line he goes to Langdon, and Dan Curtin cuts him off. And the famous number 6 smashes it into the Williams stand for a boundary throw-in.
Big contest, wasn't it?
We've just had depth of contributors today, the Crows. It's only Saligo with the 6 touches. Thilthorpe's had 9 and been so influential, and above that, every other Crows player's had 10 or more.
Adelaide by 11. Tossed in left half forward for the D's. Gawn takes it, hands it to Chandler. Crunched by Thilthorpe. Can't get a clean disposal. Rochelle with the pickpocket. Gets it out to Laird. Now to Saligo. Turned into trouble. A brick wall of Sparrow and Court holding the ball.
Got to go quick now.
Sparrow pops up. The Adelaide Hills product. Sends it towards the 50. Van Rooyen with eyes for it. Knocked down Pickett there. Another fumble front and square. Adelaide mop it up. Murray trying to get a handball clear and tackle. Just got it out to Keane. Couple of flyers. Sparrow got a fist in. Tracked well by Rankin. Back to Laird and Saligo. The crowd's feeling it now as Adelaide at right half back.
Flicks it back to Berry, who handballs to Saligo. He's got time. They can milk it now, Adelaide. Alex Neil-Bullen takes the mark. Centre wing. Outer side of the ground. Oh, it's been a tough effort from Adelaide. Neil-Bullen kicks up towards right half forward, and working forward again was Berry. What a year he's having. Kicks inside the forward 50, looking for Rochelle. Perfectly placed pass. Rochelle marks 45 out, 45-degree angle, right half forward.
Game over.
Opportunity for Rochelle, as you said, Josh, to run the clock down, and I think he's had the 15 or 16 touches today, 2 goals, 3. Another opportunity to hit the scoreboard on the siren, but what a game. He's been so clean, so influential. Impressive game from Josh Rochelle and the Crows.
This will be his 6th shot on goal. As the siren sounds, Josh Rochelle from 45 out for the perfect finish. He gets his 3rd. Adelaide get a big win with a big final term. They were challenged all day, but they are back and up into 5th spot. 11-13-79. Melbourne 9-8-62.
South Australia. and we're known as the Adelaide Crows. We're courageous, stronger, faster, and respected by our foes. Admiration of the nation, our determination shows. We're the pride of South Australia, we're the mighty Adelaide Crows.
A terrific afternoon of footy at the Adelaide Oval as the Crows leapfrog the Demons into 5th and they can smell a return to the top 4. The Crows have won 6 of their last 7 on this enormous run as they go flying towards September again. 11-13-79 to the D's, 9-8-62. A 17-point win to Adelaide and take nothing away from Melbourne, who are so good again, but still are winless on the road as their credentials got tested at the Adelaide Oval in front of 46,000.
We're the mighty Adelaide Crows. Yes, the pride of South Australia. We're the mighty Adelaide Crows.
So is history repeating is the big question. A 9-game winning streak for Adelaide last year as they surged to top spot. And now they've won 6 of their last 7 as they start to get all their key players back, and 8 of their last 10. The Adelaide Crows winners by 17 points at the Adelaide Oval. We're with you for the next 16 minutes before we take you to the Sydney Showgrounds for the Giants and the Blues. Our listeners in the ACT will have the NRL with the West Tigers and the Dolphins. It's enough time to hear the song, get a chat, get all the analysis from Lauren Arnell and Josh Francou on a fun afternoon in South Australia.
Well, Lauren, from Adelaide's point of view, I wouldn't say it was convincing, and that's probably taking nothing away from Melbourne's. I thought Melbourne actually were very impressive today. They, going into the game, they've started to hit their straps, Adelaide, and to come away with the 4 points up against, as we said, a Melbourne side that threw everything at them, was in the end it was workmanlike. They tick the box and they move on. But I guess from Melbourne's point of view, their supporters and the coaching staff would be. I think they'd be a bit flat after that because they had their moments in the game. We spoke about it during the second quarter, I think it was, when their efficiency inside 50 was really poor and they looked like, again, potentially breaking the game open and controlling momentum of the game, but just couldn't hit the scoreboard. But probably the defining moment in the game was the McAndrew when he went down. Not expecting him to come back on, but he did and had a pretty decent last quarter. But overall, it was a good performance from Adelaide. They get the 4 points and they move on.
I was just impressed by the grit again. We saw it 2 weeks ago here at Adelaide Oval against the Cats and then again today. Just moments where, you think Melbourne are in control of the game and Melbourne haven't taken their opportunities. But, I think good teams just find a way to win, as you said, and that's what you've seen from the Crows again today and a really impressive performance on return for Rankin. I thought Shelley was electric. Still thought did the job that he needed while McAndrew was off the ground. And, I just like the all-round performance and what that team looked like today. And you look at a guy like Jacob Van Rooyen, he kicks 3 goals in the first quarter and then largely unsighted after that. And got to give credit to the defenders for the Crows. I thought Borlay's really stepped up. He gets better each game he plays at this level. Mark Keane, 22 touches on return.
He was terrific.
Barely looked like he's missed. They just look like a very solid team right now, especially here at home at Adelaide Oval.
It's just all the boxes they've been ticking over the last month. So it was beating a top 10 side. It was winning first quarters like the Western Bulldogs. That had been plaguing them through the year. And then all around that, the ability to win close games, which has hurt them in recent years. Obviously, the celebrations for the Crows right now, but the D's have formed a guard of honour for Jake Lever, who's being shouldered off by Ed Langdon and Max Gawn in his 200th game. The former Adelaide Crow back at the Adelaide Oval, 66 games for the Crows as a first-round pick in 2014. Traded in 2017. Those picks ultimately used for Bryce Gibbs, but he comes back home after a premiership with the Demons and an All-Australian Blazer as well in that year. Unfortunate that the Crows boys probably weren't there for it. There was a nice little contingent of fans who gathered towards the southern end, but Jake Lever makes his way off the ground in his milestone whilst Adelaide run around the ground to celebrate with the 46,000 strong, the third highest home and away crowd between these two teams at this venue. Big afternoon, and we'll get the votes in as well where we can, but some of those big names that you guys mentioned before, Sam Berry continues to deliver in the middle with 24 touches. Jordan Dawson cops the heavy knock, so probably not as prolific in terms of his numbers, but the 2 goals alongside his 18 touches are so handy. Rory Laird continues to perform off half-back, considering he got a 1-year extension at the age of 32. He might still be rolling around for a little bit longer the way he's playing. The 26 touches for him and the 232 metres gained. The tackle numbers as well, so Berry with 7 just continues to be massive in that stat, and Isaac Rankin 22 touches alongside a couple of clearances as well. For the Ds, Max Gawn did everything he could, 28 touches, 31 hit-outs, 11 of those to an advantage, and when Lockie McAndrew went down, you thought maybe he'll take the game over, but ultimately McAndrew comes back out and he just can't pull them across the line. And Tom Sparrow, pretty good audition for one of the clubs that's in the race for him with 28 touches as well, on an afternoon where Jack Steele was probably a little quieter with his 21. But they've got some good kids, don't they, Loz? There's a few names that have put their hand up through the last few weeks that are showcasing they'll be pillars of this side for a decade to come.
I like what they're building, Melbourne, and I think they show some really strong elements of a good side. They just didn't have enough contributors today, and you look at some of their more experienced players who didn't stand up. We've been more than critical of Pickett's game. I think he's a superstar. You expect him to be better again next week off the back of that. But a guy like Bailey Fritsch, just the 12 disposals, a lot of time in front half for the Crows in patches, so you can understand that. But you need guys like that playing better. Van Roy in the 3 early, but then again not able to contribute. Langdon had some big fumbles on a wing in key moments, so it's a learning game, I think, for Melbourne, but a missed opportunity to win one away from home.
That's how I felt about it too. And no Myercheck, no Petty either, so that's hurt them up front. So if they have those 2 guys playing, does that change the outcome? But yeah, as I said, overall I think the Crows coaching staff, the players, the supporters, they walk away satisfied they got the victory and keep building momentum.
One of those games where sometimes it's good to win ugly against one of the better teams. And look, 17-point margin doesn't quite add to my stat, but it was a thriller up until the end where Adelaide kicked the last couple. And if you're a Crows fan, in the last near 150 games, 32% of them have been thrillers. So they're pretty used to it now. Yeah. They're getting better at being on the right side of the ledger in them. It certainly makes for entertaining footy. I imagine most fans would probably just want an easy win rather than a nail-biter, but it's been an absolute blast here at the Adelaide Oval this season.
And that's the muscle, though. That's the muscle you want to build. If you're going to be a finals team and a good finals team, you've got to be good at winning the close ones. And I'd argue you're far better off having those types of games. You'd love to be putting teams away, but Melbourne are a good side. They're 5th coming into this game on the ladder, and you just got to be happy with that win, I would have thought.
And I think one of the other things they've got to look forward to is they've still got quality players to come back into this lineup. So Archie, talking about Cumming,
Butts,
Worrell, Pedler.
How do you fit them in? That's the problem.
And who misses?
Oh, who misses?
Yeah. So, and probably more to the point, who misses? You talk about Nankervis. I thought his game was outstanding today.
And this was the narrative of the first half of the season, was they were competitive against the best without these players, and eventually we knew the luxury they'd have with the depth. It was just, could you get to a good position to then have a run? And they kept themselves around the mark of the top 6, and now that everybody's back, they're starting to string together some victories and have a real case to be a top 4 team, which, there's few and fewer week upon week. It's the Suns are losing stock, but you still got, the Hawks, the Dockers, the Swans, the Cats. It's going to be an exciting run home for everyone in the AFL, and particularly the Adelaide Crows, who have the showdown next week. Melbourne will get the bye they've probably been craving, given they didn't have the early opening round break. So they've been going the long way all the way to round 16 before they get a breather. Adelaide winners by 17 points at the Adelaide Oval, and making their way down the race at the Riverbank stand end as a good contingent of fans gather at the race. I should mention as well, the news lately out of Tony Modra is that he is awake and with his family. So excellent news there for one of the game's greats. Josh Money's in the rooms to welcome in the players. What's it like down there, Josh?
It's absolutely crowded down here, Aaron. The cordoned off section for family and friends is bursting at the seams. You've got a lot of kids in here as well. Big family turnout today as well. And as you mentioned, plenty to celebrate on and off the field today. Crows certainly have got their mojo back post-bye, haven't they, with 3 wins in a row against Flag Fancy. So absolutely very happy scenes down here in the rooms. And this song will be sung with plenty of gusto. The 2 big men, Riley Thilthorpe and Lockie McAndrew, have had to slug it out all day. Quite understandably, sort of last to join the huddle now. Tex and his couple of kids, and Wade Miller and his kids as well, all joining in now.
South Australia, where the mighty Adelaide Crows
and respected by our foes. Admiration of the nation and determination to Josh for the pride of South Australia, for the mighty Adelaide Crows.
We're back with Josh Richelli.
Hopefully we can squeeze it in for the end of the broadcast with you for the next 7 minutes. We might get the votes in so we have as much time up our sleeve as we can. Who's got the 3, 2 and 1?
Oh, I can do it if you
Lauren's
want,
looking
Josh.
at me. I've got a couple of names down. Look, I thought Miller's game was very good. I actually have given Miller 3 votes. I thought his game was superb. I thought Max Gawn for Melbourne was awesome as well and was the potential game breaker for the Demons. Couldn't get him over the line, but again, I thought his game was outstanding. And then I'm stuck on 1 vote. I've got Keane, I've got Rankin, then Curvis I thought was good. So Richelli was good as well. So I handball that one to you, Lauren, if you want.
I'll go the last vote. Richelli for me, yeah.
Okay. 3 goals on the night. Makes sense. The Adelaide Crows, winners by 17 points over the Demons, so 9-5. Their record, the D's are 9-6, and have the bye coming up next week on the eve of Showdown 60. Big question on the text line that everyone wants to know. Brendan from Hobart's asked it for me. Are the Crows any better than last year, given that they're pretty much similarly placed?
I could mount an argument that this is better. This season sets the Crows up better off the back of last year and that experience. I think it's better for them to have gone through the grit and all of the challenges on and off field this year. It sets them up better for the finals.
They look like they're in a good spot. Let's hear from the Crows themselves. Down in the rooms, Josh Money has Josh Richelli.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aaron. 3 goals, 3 for Josh Richelli today. Josh, how satisfying was that win?
Yeah, it was, Josh. We knew that the D's were going to bring it today. They've had a really good season so far, and I think up to half-time, 3/4 time, we knew it was going to be a gritty win in the end, and I'm just glad we got it done in the end.
Probably a bit more time for you forward today with Rankin back in the team. I know you've flirted with the midfield this year, but how much do you love kicking goals?
It's one of my favourite things. I do love it, especially on Adelaide Oval soil. It was a great finish in the end when I got that last set shot, just hearing the roar of the crowd. So, yeah, I love doing what the team needs, but, yeah, I love playing forward too.
How much sleep did you get last night? What time were you up for the Socceroos, and who'd you watch it with?
Oh, it's a funny story. My brother rolled into my house at about 4 a.m. He had a big night and woke me up, so I cracked the shits with him and I couldn't fall back asleep, so I said, well, I'll just watch the game. So I watched the game and I've fallen back asleep for a couple of hours.
I'll let you know as well, Paraguay won and Miguel Amaron was sent off, so we can't finish bottom, so a good chance to go.
Yeah. Oh, that's great to know.
I'll throw you upstairs.
Thanks, mate.
Josh, that's probably not the ideal game prep, but I guess the nap served you well going to the game today.
Oh, yeah. I said to my brother, if I play bad today, you'll cop it when I get home. So I'm pretty lucky, or he's lucky, that we end up winning in the end.
It's funny, I think sometimes different circumstances set you up for better games. I thought you were exceptional today, Josh, and I know a lot of people talk about your soccer background, but do you think it helps watching that level of competition in any sport? I'm assuming you've been engrossed in the World Cup. How much does that sort of help your mindset as you come into a game like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the foundations that I learned from a young age playing soccer, being in Melbourne City's youth academy, really helped me to go into the AFL environment with the professionalism. So, yeah, it's just great to see the World Cup now and go for the Socceroos, and it's something that I love watching every 4 years.
And a great execution from your team today. We thought the whole team in general, particularly James Peatling, kept Kasiah Pickett pretty quiet. How much planning went into that throughout the week?
Yeah, I think James has probably been one of our most underrated midfielders this season. The work that he does on some of the opposition's best midfielders, but not only does he do that, he gets involved and gets the ball as well. But we knew that Cozzy, Max Gawn, those type of players have been absolute game breakers this season. So, yeah, credit to him.
Josh, congratulations on the win today and your performance. I thought it was outstanding. Just a question which I know is probably going to be difficult to answer, but how do you compare yourself to the same time last year and how you're travelling at the moment from a team perspective?
Yeah, I think earlier in the year, which was probably why we were struggling, we were really trying to compare ourselves to last season, and you know that each season, the trajectory is just going to differ each season. So I think after we had a slow start, we just had to accept that there's going to be times where we're just going to have to win like today. It's going to have to be gritty. We can't have it on our terms. And I think after that Hawthorn game, we had a really some good conversations, reset, trained well, and it's been great to have 3 wins post-bye now.
And the other thing, I guess, early days, it's been well documented that you are really struggling with injuries across the squad. It must be really pleasing now that there's you know, there's such a fight on for spots. You've got Archie, Cumming, Butts, Pedler, Hinge, guys that come back into the side. It must be really healthy in terms of what that looks like for you guys at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just starts with our sample as well. We've got so many great players that are playing at the level above, and it's a credit to our team at the moment. They're playing some really good football. But you saw the 3-ins today, Big Texan, Keeney and Ranks. They just add that exceptional talent and skill, and obviously Tex with his leadership. So, really looking forward to probably that back end when we can have our best 23 in.
Josh, 3 for you this afternoon. Showdown 60 next week. How many are you bagging against the Power?
It'd be nice to get on the end of a couple, but we know that these showdowns are always so tight, no matter who on the ladder, if it's first or last. So we know it's going to be a good fight. Port have had some tough losses. I think they've lost something like 5 or 6 under like a point or 3 points or something. So we know they're going to bring their best, and they're always the best games they're playing.
Cannot wait to see how it unfolds. Congratulations, Josh. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Joshua Shelley downstairs, the 1 vote as part of the ABC Sport Footballer of the Year award. Max Gorn, the 2. Wayne Miller, the 3. Thanks to Lauren Arnell and Josh Francou, our experts this afternoon. Thanks for your work, crew.
Been awesome. Thank you.
Good work to Tom Wilson as well. Back in the studio, Craig Davis, Dominic Lombardo, our tech, and Josh Money downstairs. Adelaide winners by 17 points. They were down 13 in the second half. Absolute arm wrestle, but ultimately the Crows get the job done. They've won 6 of their last 7 and are eyeing a top 4 spot in September. The D's head to the bye, 9-6 and in 6th place as well. If you're in the ACT, you're off to the NRL, the West Tigers and the Dolphins. But coming up next, for our AFL fans, it is the Giants and the Blues.